like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the live, man, on this one. Appreciate y'all being in the stream on this one, fam. Much love, much love, much love. Hope you guys are doing good. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear me pretty good. Out and about, moving around. I appreciate y'all for being in the stream on this one. Sunday stream, Sports Coma, representing the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. Standing 10 toes down. We up in this thing. Much love to the fam, man. Shout out to Muse. We appreciate you. Trinity Montoya for the Cash App. That was on the last stream. I didn't catch it, so I'd like to give you some love on this stream. We appreciate you for that as well. Always good representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. So we'd like to thank you. Thank you. So we'd like to thank you on that as always. And here we, let me see if I can play this one for you.
Wasting my time now, come on! Stop stalling!
All right, all right, big ups to you, and also appreciate you as well for becoming SC. Let's get on the screen. Shout out to her as well. Much love for Chantel for doing and becoming a YouTube member as well. So shout out to Trinity Montoya Muse for the Cash App, and shout out to Chantel Penton for becoming a new member. So shout out to you. Appreciate you as well for being a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you, Chantel. Welcome to the Patreon and YouTube membership family. And for those family members that's out there, know that for as far as the Patreon YouTube membership family, it's not just the recognition aspect of it, what you see on the intros and outros. There's also a ton of lot content that we've done over the years and continue to do as well. So big ups to you guys. Appreciate you being on the stream. Hope you're having a fantastic Memorial weekend as far as, hanging out with the family, just doing what we do, all too well, just being true to who you are and what you are for this holiday weekend or Memorial Day weekend. Salute to all of the people that made the sacrifice for the country and protecting the country. Much love to you guys as vets in my family and across the nation. And there's a lot of vets that listen to the show. Shout out to you guys and salute to our veterans out there, man, that make the ultimate sacrifice. We love you and we appreciate you. We really do. So big ups to you guys. Much love. Who Dat Daddy? Big ups to you, Sonia OG. Congratulations on 600 subs, bro. And anybody who know OG is one of the realest ones, man, give him a sub, man. Beverly, shout out to you. What's up, Jaden? Shout out to you, brother Wallace. This is in this thing as well. Much love. Chantel also adds Kenny Pickett is going to NOLA. That's the rumor here in Cleveland. Thank you. Yin, what's up, Yin Cartel? Big ups to you, Backwoods as well. Good to see you. Kathleen, I see you. Kathleen, big ups to you as well. Good to see you in the chat. Much love to all of my family out there. Gundam, what's up, brother Gundam? Skylight, big ups to your fam as well. Poppy 504, Desi, much love to you guys. Much love. All right, I think that's everybody, man. If you didn't get your Who Dat, give me a Who Dat, and I give you Who Dat. What's up, Dave? Shout out to Dave Griggs as well. The Creed says the arrogant way Rodgers answered the question tells you all you need to know about him. Yes, indeed. We're going to cover that article as well, fam. So, yeah, he and like I said, I'm going to give you my thoughts on them. What's up, Trap Star? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Super Saints fan, much love, fam. I see you out there, Ivy. Much love. All right, T-Mama. What's up, T-Mama, baby? L-Dub, big ups to you. Good to see you, T-Mama. Hope you're doing well as well out there. What's up, brother English? How you doing, sir? Much love. All right, so, fam, let's kind of talk about this, shall we? We open it up with the Aaron Rodgers commentary as well. We talk about Aaron Rodgers says he's not interested. Shout out to Canal Street Chronicles as well. They covered this story. And Tina, shout out to Tina as well. Much love to Tina. Aaron Rodgers says he's not interested in playing for the Saints. And it's even before this was a thing, fam, we kind of talked about this, about the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. But does it make sense for the Saints to grab Aaron Rodgers, even though if you get him at a reduced rate, does it make sense to have that old fuddy-duddy here? And I applaud the Saints to a degree of keeping it on to the young people, because at some point we've done this to death. And sometimes you want to have an older guy there, but Aaron Rodgers is not a quarterback. If you're looking for a veteran, if you're looking for one, he ain't the one you bring in and talk about playing behind the youngsters. The Saints, if they are looking for a veteran and to be in the quarterback room, it most certainly is not going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not coming here to help nobody. To be a good influence to the young quarterback room. Not interested in that. Aaron Rodgers wants to play. So whatever team he goes to, he has to play. He wants to start for the team. That's what he's looking for. He's not interested in coming and being a backup on a team with a young quarterback. It's just not what it appears what he is. And it might be time for him to hang it up, man. But they're saying there might be a few spots. It's rumored Chicago and all this kind of stuff. We'll see. But let's get right into the article, fam, that we're dealing with right here. Let me get it up on the screen right here. Much love. And once again, Chantel, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Much love to you as well. All right. Anybody else that feel that they want to do that, you can also, the links are in the description section as well. Gundam says, go young. Remember, the promised land was conquered by the young generation, not the old folks. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. All right, let's get right into the article. Aaron Rodgers says he's not interested in playing for the Saints. 10-time Pro Bowl quarterback is currently a free agent. So this is what was said. Even though the New Orleans Saints currently have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, there have still been questions as to whether they would sign a veteran QB to bring some experience to that position group. It was even a bigger question this past week as news came out that QB Jake Hayner is dealing with an oblique injury and is likely out until training camp. While there was no concrete information that the Saints are even interested in a veteran QB, Aaron Rodgers, who's currently a free agent, his name has still been popping up online as a possibility to New Orleans ever since Derek Carr retired. However, a video clip posted on X by ML Football should finally put any rumors of Rodgers to rest. The 41-year-old quarterback was recently in Austin, Texas. And let's play it right here. Y'all put one in the chat. If you can hear it, I'll play it so you can hear what Aaron Rodgers had to say. Here we go.
A free agent now. Would you ever consider playing for the Saints and making us great again? Because you know.
No.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
All right, next question.
It's no. No, I've played there a couple times, but no. The answer is no. I'm too old. I don't want to live in Louisiana. Sorry.
All right. So that's what Aaron Rodgers said about playing for the Saints. And the reality is Aaron Rodgers was never a serious candidate for being any quarterback in New Orleans, right? So, I mean, and it's no disrespect. I don't feel disrespect by Aaron Rodgers, who's 40-something years old, who's just basically a shell of himself saying no to New Orleans. It was never really a thing. And even when it was bantered about early on, I quickly slammed it because this guy is a shell of himself, and he's just in the money collecting maze right now. He's just, what is he playing for? Wherever you go, they're not going to be a contender. His last great stand was with the Jets last year when they put all the weapons around him, and he did nothing for them. So, I mean, he's not the quarterback he used to be. He hadn't been that guy since he left Green Bay. And at this point, there really is the Saints should not have any serious interest in Aaron Rodgers being anywhere around here. Like I said, I like what they're doing in terms of having a youth movement, and let's rock with that. I think, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but at this stage of his career, I mean, you would probably get more out of a paperweight than you can get out of Aaron Rodgers. Let's just keep it 100% real with you. All right, what's up, Kai? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you for being in the live. Anyway, let's move on, man, to the next article. Y'all put y'all thoughts in the comment section about that as well. This is an article right here, and it's from MSN Sports. The Saints trade could bring former Super Bowl savior to their room. And we talked about this before. And will this be something we'd be interested in? This is what they're saying. Cleveland Browns may not know who their starting quarterback will be next season, but they do have too many signal callers on their current roster. Saints could be the perfect team to help the Browns alleviate their overcrowding. Making a move for Joe Flacco could do wonders to help the Saints option at the game's most important position. The Browns presumably signed Flacco to be their starter, but the organization plans may have changed in the draft. Cleveland selected Oregon standout Dylan Gabriel in the third before circling back for Shedeur Sanders' high-profile slot in round 5. The pair of rookies joined the aforementioned Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson to form a 5-man quarterback room in Cleveland. The Saints are not blessed with so many options. Will cause sudden retirement due to a shoulder injury, which left New Orleans front office scrambling to find a new quarterback in the draft. I wouldn't say all that. They elected to roll the dice on former Louisville star Tyler Shuck in round 2. At the moment, he projects to be in a battle with second-year pro Spencer Rattler in training camp to be the Saints starter this year. Saints could add a veteran presence in Joe Flacco to the QB room. New Orleans would be wise to add more of an established veteran to the mix. That's why making a trade with the Browns to bring Flacco to the Big Easy makes so much sense. He's the perfect veteran to add experience to the quarterback room without being any sort of threat to Shuck's status as the team's signal caller for the future. The Browns cannot reasonably walk into week 1 with 5 quarterbacks, so they need to trade someone. Getting anything of value in exchange for Flacco should be a win for Cleveland's front office. Getting a guaranteed 7th rounder with 1 round of upside should be all the Saints are willing to pay. That would allow Cleveland to head into training camp with 3-headed monster competition. With Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders can duel it out during the preseason. Watson should not be a factor as he continues to rehab from injury. The Saints could also hold a 3-man competition with Flacco in the mix. He would give the Saints a higher floor than either Rattler or Shuck can provide. I don't know about that's a crucial consideration for a team that fancies themselves as contenders for the NFC South crown. Oh, we fancy ourselves, eh? We fancy ourselves. No, it's not about being fancy ourselves, man. It's about earning it. Right now, the Saints got to earn it. Interesting, the Saints will make this trade hoping for Flacco to fail in his bid to win a starting job. The best case scenario for New Orleans is for Shuck to show he's got the goods to win a job right now. At most, Flacco should be acquired with the idea that he can keep the seat warm for a high-profile rookie. This is not the sort of trade that will shift the balance of power in the NFL, but it's a real deal that makes good sense for both sides. Saints supporters should keep an eye on Flacco over the coming weeks. So this is an article right here from NSN. They're talking about Joe Flacco could possibly be the guy in New Orleans, and that'll be an interesting case, to be honest, because a lot of people think of another quarterback. We know Chantel was talking about Mr. Pickett heading to New Orleans. Let me pull that article up here as well, as he's a guy that a lot of people think is currently linked to the position. So we just can't seem to get away from a lot of this stuff going on with the Browns. So any quarterback really dealing with the Browns, right? At one point, the Saints was trying to get Deshaun Watson, that early on before he fell apart. But here's an article right here from the Cleveland Browns side of things. Saints linked to pursuing trade for Browns QB. Saints have been connected to the trade for Cleveland Browns quarterback. This is Matthew Schmidt from Cleveland Browns Sports Illustrated side of things, and this is their take from their side. Cleveland Browns are currently carrying 4 healthy quarterbacks, seeming unlikely they will head into the season with all of them on the 53-man roster. Taking that in consideration, the trade seems inevitable. During a recent appearance on 92.3 The Fan, that's Ross, shout out to Ross, feels that the Browns signal caller Kenny Pickett could comprise a trade target for the Saints. He could. In a scenario which the Saints get to the end of preseason and decide they need a veteran quarterback in their building, I can absolutely see Kenny Pickett being a target. According to Ross, he says, no disrespect to Joe, but the reason why I like Pickett is because he has the connection to Kellen Moore. He played under Moore and won under Kellen Moore. Moore served as Pickett's offensive coordinator with the Eagles last season, although I should be noted that Pickett obviously served as Jalen's backup. Moore is the head of the coach head coach for the Saints now, so there is some familiarity there. Cleveland initially acquired Pickett in a trade with the Eagles earlier this offseason. The Browns then signed Flacco in free agency and selected both Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in the draft. Pickett was originally selected by the Steelers in the first round of the 22 draft, but has never materialized in Pittsburgh, totaling 13 touchdowns, 13 picks across 24 starts. Perhaps a team like New Orleans feels it could fix Pickett, especially considering the Saints are still searching for an answer under center. So this was Ross told Sports Illustrated of Cleveland. Let me then pivot to some of the statistics right here of Kenny Pickett. As you guys can see, here's 6'3", 220. He's 26 years of age and the first round pick 20 back in 2022. You can see what he did last year for the Eagles and all-time career numbers in 30 games played. He 13 in his first year, 12 in his second year, and last year 5 games, 30 total games. 471 completions out of 755 attempts, 62.4 completion percentage, and just over 4,700 yards with 15 touchdowns against 14 interceptions, sacked 54 times within that span of time. So you can see right here, he's a 26-year-old veteran, almost the same age as as Tyler. It's very interesting because if you're looking for a veteran, I look at it and I say to myself, if I'm looking for a veteran quarterback, right? If I'm looking for a veteran quarterback, I'm most certainly kind of not looking. And listen, I do understand the idea of of Kenny Pickett. I just don't know if I totally agree about that, right? Because he's 26 years old. And he's just 30. He's a veteran of 30 games, right? And he ain't had much success. When I see a veteran steady in the room, I'm thinking more like a Teddy Bridgewater, somebody that brings tutorship or mentorship to it. Pickett's still competing. He's not, I guess, because he's still young enough. If somebody believes in him and they say fix him, if he ends up in the right system, he could very well be competing for a starting job. He's not bridge quarterback yet. He's not what I would classify as a bridge quarterback yet. He's 26 years old. He's been playing this is his 4th year. He was a first round draft pick back in 22. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't say the man a bridge just yet. He's still looking to be a starting quarterback. He's still young. He's still in his prime and still has the ability to get better. I'm thinking somebody a little older. Now, if it was like the previous article make mention of somebody like Flacco, yeah, I could see a Flacco. I could see a Teddy Bridgewater. I could see somebody, even a Carson Wentz. I could see perhaps a Carson Wentz, a guy, some of those type of guys who we know they're just mentors to the room. If you see that, because right now we've heard what Mickey Loomis said. Tyler Shuck is the guy. Spencer Rattler, Jake Hayner dealing with injury. They have Hunter Deckers in there. But at some point, you would think the Saints would probably bring in a camp body. There's still a lot of time between now and then. You could possibly see the Saints bringing in somebody to kind of help them do that and move that up in there. You know what I mean? But it's just a thought process that we're looking at with Kenny Pickett. I just don't see the man as a bridge quarterback just yet. I think he coming in there. The man wants to be a starter. I just don't see that aspect of it. He's 26 years old with 30 games of experience. That ain't exactly somebody that will call and say he studies the room. I mean, how much studying is he going to do? I'm talking bridge. I'm talking about a real bridge quarterback. I'm talking about a guy that been there and done that and just happy to be on the team. I'm talking about a guy just happy to be on the damn team. You know, he bringing them guys Gatorade and shit. He just had, you know, he a half a step from sitting on the couch on Sundays, that type of stuff. You won't bring that kind of guy in there. Joe Flacco type of guy, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't know about this Pickett stuff, man. But anyway, let's move on, man, to the next article right here. And shout out to Canal Street Chronicles again. They're putting in good work. Jennings listed the 3 under the radar Saints for 2025. This is the young writers' take on what they thought would be some Saints that we could be looking at to be impressed by this upcoming season. As the Saints turn the page and begin the next chapter, depth players will need to step up in hopes to stay competitive in a relative weak division. These are 3 guys the writer think could have a much bigger role than initially anticipated. So number 1, Cedric Wilson Jr. Oh my. Remember, we talked about Cedric Wilson Jr. a lot, me in particular, me. I'm not very impressed with Cedric Wilson Jr. When they brought Cedric Wilson Jr. to the Saints, y'all remember that the idea was that he was, as crazy as it sounds, he was supposed to be the veteran wide receiver that was supposed to be on the opposite side of Chris Olave. He was supposed to replace Michael Thomas in the Saints wide receiver room. That's what they were talking about Cedric Wilson Jr. That's why they offered him a 2-year contract. While a lot of guys had 1-year prove-it deals, Cedric Wilson Jr., 2 years, $5.7 million contract, was listed as a guy that was supposed to replace Michael Thomas in the Saints wide receiver room as the possession guy opposite of Chris Olave. Put 1 in the chat if y'all remember that. Put 1 in the chat if you remember that. Put 1 in the chat if you remember that, because people forget how poor the experiment went with Cedric Wilson Jr. to the point where I just wanted him off the team. I mean, it was for a vet. I mean, he just was not impactful at all. And he kept getting hurt. You know, his blocking wasn't all that. He made 0 impact in the offense at all. And I was like, damn, it's almost like having a rookie out here. We expect more out of the guy was dropping passes. And when he was out there, he didn't do anything. It was nothing special about Wilson. But this was the guy who the Saints tabbed under Mickey Loomis, Dennis Allen, with Derek Carr. They tabbed this guy as a replacement for Michael Thomas. People forget that because there was another thing that went terribly wrong. Like all the ones. What's up, Beth? All the ones said, yeah, I remember that, Q. Yeah, I remember that. Said, we don't forget that kind of stuff. Now, during the 2024 offseason, the Saints agreed to terms with Wilson on a 2-year, $5.7 million deal, hoping he can somewhat replicate the over-the-middle role held by Saints legend Michael Thomas. Remember that. The writer didn't forget either. Ultimately, his first year in the Big Easy didn't go as planned. He struggled to find a rhythm, finishing the season with 200 yards on 20 catches, 1 touchdown, along with 2 drops on 28 targets across 15 games. It was horrible. Now, the writer believes that Cedric Wilson Jr., now it's a total new system now. It's a total new system that he would have to pick up. They're thinking that he could be a factor in the wide receiver room. Let's see if he kind of delivers on any reason why he feels this way. A 6'2", 197-pound, 30-year-old was expected to be the dependable third option for Derek Carr, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, particularly on short and immediate routes. However, his uses may not have matched his skill set. Wilson saw 163 snaps in the slot compared to 218 out wide, despite historically thriving on the inside. That's why I believe a reunion with new Saints head coach and play caller Kellen Moore could be what Wilson needs to revive his career. The 2 previously found success together with Dallas, where Wilson had a breakout year back in 21 under Moore's scheme. He hauled in 50 passes for 71 targets for 664 yards and six touchdowns. 500 snaps in the slot, 85 outside. He also recorded 6 contested catches, 13 attempts, 46.2, and earned a career best almost 72-yard receiving grade, almost 72% receiving grade from the PFF people. He was a former 6th-round pick by the Cowboys out of Boise, where Moore played from 2007 to 2011. Wilson has shown he can be a reliable target in the right system, but the Saints still in need of a big-body receiver. Moore could be able to maximize Wilson's role more effectively this year, So I wouldn't rule out guys like Bub or Donovan People-Jones either. Now, make a great point. The writer does a fantastic job of laying out all the facts. He's absolutely right. Only one thing I would have to say to add to this article is the fact that this guy's a lot older than what he did when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, right? He's a little older than that. So it's going to be interesting to see. I am very aware of the connections between Kellen Moore and Cedric Wilson Jr. We'll see how it all weighs out in the end. But the wide receiver room is comprised of a lot of players. It's deep right now. A lot of inexperienced players. Cedric Wilson Jr. is probably outside of our top three guys. We talk about Olavi, Rashid Shaheed, and Cooks. He's definitely the most experienced guy the Saints have. You talk about veterans. He is definitely the old man of the bunch outside of Cooks. Everybody else is young. Bub Means, Kevin Austin, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Dante Pettis, Mason Tipton, Moochie Dixon, Chris Tyree. All these are young guys. So he does have the experience of being a veteran. Can he use that to his benefit is the thing. Familiarity with Kellen Moore can help, but in year two, can he find success here in the city of New Orleans? We'll just have to see. But it's a different wide receiver than what Kellen Moore had in Dallas. He's a little older. We'll see if he can break the mold, man. I like Donovan Peoples-Jones, to be honest with you. All right, next up on this list is cornerback Isaac Yiadom. He was excited to announce that they were reuniting with veteran cornerback Isaac Yiadom on a 3-year, $9 million deal. Considering what he brings to the table, the 29-year-old spent last year with the Niners along with new Saints defensive coordinator Brandon Staley, who served as the assistant head coach under Kyle Shanahan. Don't tell me that connections don't mean nothing in the NFL, right? Yiadom wrapped up his lone season in San Fran under Staley with 1 interception, 3 pass breakups on 320 coverage snaps and 38 targets, along with 39 tackles, 10 stops, a forced fumble. And according to PFF, he also spent time on the special teams throughout his career and played 247 snaps in that role last year. Now, he says he'd like to look back to the 23 season when the Saints were battling a number of injuries in the secondary, and guys like Yiadom and Ugo Amadi stepped up. Yiadom was tied for 6th among all defensive backs with 11 pass breakups, while also adding an interception on 319 coverage snaps, 44 targets, earning himself a career-high 80.4 coverage grade from the PFF folks. And his 25 tackles, 10 stops, and 1 pressure also helped him achieve his career-high defensive grade of 81.1. Now, Yiadom saw 265 snaps on the special teams during his brief stint in New Orleans. So you put Yiadom in the mix with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Wouldn't be surprised if he ended up coming away with the job, especially since 4th-round pick Quincy Riley would not be ready to start as he is recovering from a pre-draft injury. Now, that will be interesting because the top 3 cornerbacks, as seen by, the unofficial depth chart, and some of the people see the top 3 cornerbacks as Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alante Taylor, and Ugo Amadi. Now, does that change with Coach Staley? We know Isaac Yiadom did get better. Now, when Isaac Yiadom was with the Saints early on, he did improve. He learned how to turn around and face the ball. You can't face guard wide receivers all the time. He gained more confidence to be able to understand and read the eyes of the receiver so he could turn around and face the ball and make a play. Whether you're making a deflection or an interception, you can't do that unless you know where the ball is. And the wide receiver is going to let you go. The slickest ones know how not to, tip their hand, so to speak, until the ball is right there. Like, they want the real slick ones will not show you the ball coming. They'll just turn and it's there, right? But those ones that are not as slick and as certain as those guys at the top of their craft will telegraph to you, the defensive back, when the ball is on its way. They'll be looking, there'll be hands raised, there'll be shifting of the ball, their hands to face where the ball is going. There's different ways they'll tip. They'll let you know, hey, man, that ball on the way. You need to turn around and find where the ball at. But sometimes you got cornerbacks that get beat from the word go and they're in the chase position the whole way. Well, Yiadom got better on that. So he did a good job in San Fran. And the Saints wanted, they went for other veterans outside of him. And there's still other people in the mix. We talked about Asante Samuel Jr. that the Saints had a discussion with. Is he a factor? We know the Charger connection with Staley, all this kind of stuff. But we'll see if that is something they face down. But outside of that, he very well, Isaac Gidham most certainly will be in an opportunity to try to compete for a job. But if not, he'll just be a solid backup by Kool-Aid McKinstry, one of those guys. So it'll be fun watching that happen. So not mad at that move at all. All right, then his final pickup is a undrafted guy by the name of Jacin Davis. He's a defensive end, one of the undrafted guys. The Saints did give him some guaranteed money. I think the most guaranteed money of all the undrafted guys, if I'm certain, $30,000 of it. The writer makes mention here. 6'3", 250. Edge rush out of Wake Forest. More than likely, Jacin Davis will probably be playing a lot of linebacker in the 3-4 alignment. But he recorded the second most tackles for loss in program history with 51. Finished third in sacks with 25.5. Also posted 12-plus tackles for a loss and 40-plus quarterback pressures in each of the last 3 seasons. So this guy knows how to get to the quarterback. I don't know how he fell out of the draft because I was watching footage of Jacin Davis, and I don't know how he got out of the draft. This is definitely a guy that should have got drafted. But the Saints, they got a good draft jewel here. Isn't the typical Saints pass rush as the team usually targets prospects with higher RAS scores. He posted 4.81 out of possible 10, ranking over 1,000 out of 2,030 defensive ends from 87 to 25. He flashes good closing speed. He sometimes be exposed in the running game, has a lot of college production, has good speed as well, has a certain amount of power to his game as well. It could definitely carve out a role, he mentions, as a stand-up rusher in this scheme. We'll see. And, of course, he says eager to see how he behaves in training camp. He's also worth noting that Trajan Jeffcoat, a 2024 undrafted free agent out of Arkansas, impressed last offseason before missing his rookie year with an elbow injury. Signed a reserve future deal with the Saints at the end of the season. The Saints also selected Syracuse edge rusher Fadil Diggs in the 7th round of the 2025 draft. So Davis will have his work cut out for him. So these are a few of the players that the writer had mentioned. We've got undrafted guy, Isaac Gidham, the veteran, to add some depth to the secondary. And Cedric Wilson Jr., to me, is a very compelling case because there are not too many people that's that high on Cedric Wilson Jr., to be honest, which I think, along with the youth movement at the quarterback position, ultimately, I do think the Saints will, if they smart, will bring in a more accomplished veteran. Not, outside of them signing the Brandon Cooks thing, a lot of people are looking for a possession wide receiver. And they do have a couple of good ones out there. Allen in particular is one that fits the bill. The money would be right for the Saints. They have the money to sign him, not to mention the fact that there's a connection with the current head coach. So perhaps that's something that could work. Maybe somebody else might like him a little bit more than us. There's still time for the Saints to make a move here. Like I've talked about before, I've said that the Saints need to focus on improving, getting the possession of, even though Donovan Peoples-Jones is a very interesting prospect, he had a good season with Cleveland a couple years ago. We still could use a good guy in Allen. I would, have him and pair him there because you want to give Tyler or Spencer, you want to give these guys good veteran weapons to kind of help them out there. You want to have a mean running attack and veteran wide receivers that you can rely on. Tall quarterback, whether that's Tyler or Spencer, we need some solid wide receivers there. And if you have an extra depth there, because y'all remember we lost Chris Olave last year, we lost Rashid Shaheed last year to injury. So having extra guys there that could step up, extra veterans there in the wide receiver room wouldn't hurt. That actually being a power with all these other inexperienced wide receivers. You want to at least try to provide some versatility with a youth there and then some veteran to steady the room, maybe a couple of them, especially in the wide receiver room. All right. Shout out to that writer. Let's move on to Athlon Sports. Bob, shout out to Bob, had an article ranking, according to the Pro Football Focus, the Saints quarterback situation. Where did Tyler Shuck and the Saints quarterback stand in NFL rankings? Hey, will we have a legitimate quarterback competition for the first time in over 20 years? And Bob is alluding to the fact that we didn't have one last year. Not in terms of a backup quarterback, We had a rigged backup quarterback situation last year, you know. But Saints will have a legitimate starting quarterback competition for the first time in 25 years. However, there are some things that don't, there are some that don't have confidence in the players who will be competing for that starting role. Rookie second round choice Tyler Shuck is the favorite. His primary competition is Spencer Rattler, who's a 5th round pick last year. Jake Hayner and even undrafted rookie Hunter Deckers could be a factor who wins the job, right? Pro Football Focus is among those with no confidence in New Orleans' quarterback situation. In an article for PFF earlier this week, writer John Kosoko ranked the projected Saints quarterbacks in the NFL for this upcoming year. And this is what he had to say. Kosoko projected the Saints starter to be Tyler Shuck. He ranked Shuck as the Saints at 32nd last in the league. No guess. One of the most surprising developments of the 25 draft was Tyler Shuck being the 3rd quarterback off the board. The 26-year-old rookie spent 7 years in college and now enters a wide open competition in New Orleans following Derek Carr's retirement. Between Tyler, Spencer, and Jake, the Saints quarterback room is arguably the weakest in the league. Regardless of who starts, expectations are low. Those supporters can at least hope that Shuck delivers a few highlight reel moments, right? That's what he said. He ranks him as 3rd. Kosoko and PFF broke down the 32 projected starters into 6 tiers. The Saints were in tier 6, the low-end starters and not long-term options. Shuck and New Orleans were among 4 included in this group. So you got right there, you can see from 29, 30, 31 to 32, Flacco, Richardson, Mason Rudolph, and then you see Tyler. Kosoko listed Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen in tier number 1, the elite group. There's no viable argument for 3 of those 4. However, the rest of PFF rankings severely reduces the credibility of the list. PFF listed Jalen Hurts, and from the Eagles, Jaden Daniels, Matt Stafford, Justin Herbert in tier 2. The high-end starters, little argument with those, but Houston, CJ Stroud was listed tier 3. A solid starter that needs more help. They ranked above him was Baker Mayfield, Jordan Love, Geno Smith. He says, really, Geno Smith? Rankings of subjective and mostly reflects a personal bias in the case. Now, Shuck has yet to take a regular season snap. Neither has J.J. McCarthy from the Vikings, who's ranked 21st. Or Cam Ward, who's ranked 25th. Richardson, who's 30th, and Michael Penix, who's 23rd, have played a combined amount of 18 games in their careers. Now, Caleb Williams from the Bears is 24th. Drake May is 22 from the Patriots, are coming off extremely erratic rookie seasons with Sam Darnold ranked 26. Justin Fields is 28. Our former high first-round busts that have yet to put together a complete and competent season and have played for a combined 6 teams in 11 combined seasons in the NFL. Russell Wilson and the Giants at 27. Joe Flacco is 29th. And over-the-hill veterans that may not even start for their respective teams. Mason Rudolph is ranked 31st, has never been able to hold a starting job in 6 NFL seasons. Boy, that Pittsburgh job is, I don't know what they're doing. Now, Tyler has already made Saints franchise history. He's the 2nd quarterback to be drafted in the 1st or 2nd round by the Saints in 58 years, and the 1st since Archie Manning in 71. He could become the 1st rookie quarterback to be the Saints opening day starter since Manning in 71. So whether Tyler continues to make New Orleans history in a positive way, only time will tell. Saints coach Kellen Moore didn't use a 2nd round pick on Shuck to be a short-term option. He did because he views Shuck as a potential quarterback to rebuild the Saints into a playoff hopeful. Shout out to Bob, man. Much love to Bob Rose. Good article. So there you go, fam. Some of the writers have the Saints quarterback room listed dead last in this here NFL, man. So we'll see how that goes going forward. I mean, it's a far-going conclusion. It's not a far-going conclusion, fam, to understand that you got a rookie. You basically not a rookie, but you got a young room, right? An inexperienced room. We know all this. We know they're inexperienced. And the fulcrum is the point of emphasis is that the guy Tyler Shuck turns 26 in the fall. Kellen Moore said, that's my guy. So he don't have all of the time that you would have with a guy that's 23 to say, well, we got a little time. We can kind of work him into the mix. Now the guy turns 26. You can't. You got to go now. So they're like, we got him here, this, that, and the third. It's like, yeah, he's been in college for 7 years, but he had one good year of production. So it's a big gamble. Although I like his temperament, I've listened to his interviews. I like how he talks. I like his mindset. Got good size, got a strong arm, throws a nice tight spiral. His accuracy is okay. Still a lot to watch there. So, I mean, one thing I like about him, he's standing tall in the pocket, having a tall quarterback that can see that field, be able to deliver the ball. But it's still a lot to learn. And besides, I think Spencer Rattler in his second year is looking pretty confident. I think Spencer is going to be a guy. Don't be surprised if Spencer is not the starter opening the year, because he's going to give him all he got. He's gonna give him a run for his money. So we just hope Tyler can keep up and make it a competition, man, because there was no competition last year as far as Spencer and Jake Hayner was concerned. It most certainly was not. All right, then finally, man, before we get to the questions, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat and I would answer them before we end the stream. But shout out to you guys. Much love. All right, this one right here from Yard Barker. Saints Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau out until at least training camp. We think that Taysom Hill might be out longer than that. Matter of fact, he probably will. Saints do it all. Taysom and true tight end Foster Moreau suffered significant injuries in the later stages of their 24 season, which was a fitting end to a generally miserable year. It appears that they're on the mend, but according to Nick Underhill, shout out to Nick, reports that neither of them will return to practice until training camp at the earliest. It's worth noting that Underhill does not say whether Hill and Foster will be available for the start of camp in July or if they will return in some later date. Both players are entering platform campaigns, so their future earning power will be impacted to a large extent by their health and productivity in 2025. Hill, who's going into his age 35 season, was in line to build on the career high 114 combined receiving and rushing touches he had in 23. Last year, Kubiak's first and only season as the Saints offensive coordinator, he was reported that Hill could see more opportunities in the running game while still serving as the auxiliary receiving option. Unfortunately, the BYU product missed a handful of contests early on due to a chest injury and fractured ribs. He did sustain a torn ACL in week 13. Given his usual timeline for ACL injuries, it wouldn't be surprising if Hill was to miss the start of the 2025 campaign, which I'm expecting. And he was beat up all last year. And Clint Kubiak, I'm so glad he's gone, was a complete moron in how he handled Taysom Hill. Remember the nursery rhyme I created? When Taysom's away, Clint Kubiak can't call a play, because when Taysom Hill was in there, all Clint Kubiak did was overuse him. He did not decoy him. He did not use Taysom or the rest of these guys to create opportunities for lesser known options that he himself picked for their offense. He just overused Taysom and overused that guy. Lacked imagination. He was an idiot. He was a moron, and I'm glad he's gone. So Taysom Hill, a lot of people, a word on the street is that he's not going to be ready for the regular season, that it'll be into the season and until you see Taysom Hill suffer. He had a bunch of injuries, and that torn ACL was a horrific injury. So don't be looking for Taysom. I'll be surprised to see him start the season. Some people thinking it'll be way into the season before we see Taysom Hill take a snap. When he's healthy enough to return, it's unclear how new head coach Kellen Moore and offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier plan to use Hill. Even with an ACL injury, it is unlikely the college quarterback, who does have a 7-2 record as a starting signal caller in the pros, who has not thrown any passes except in special packages since 21, would have factored into New Orleans' upcoming QB competition. I would say not. Maybe every now and again he would throw a pass or two. Like we talked about it for years with Sean Payton when he created the idea of Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was a creation of Sean Payton so that he can keep Drew Brees at the quarterback position. That's why Taysom became a thing. He designated Taysom Hill as the deep ball thrower because Drew did not have that ability to stretch his passes beyond 15 to 20 yards. So he would just dink and dunk the hell out of you and meticulously cut you up moving the ball in terms of Drew. Taysom, on the other hand, did not develop his QB acumen. And I mean the touch on the ball, his accuracy and intermediate passes. When he was in the game and given opportunities to be a quarterback, you could see he had the option to either throw the ball or run the ball. His first inclination in a lot of that, because he lacked the patience to watch the play develop to where it's supposed to, he'll just take the hell off and he'll pick up the yardage. So he was more running back than he was anything, right? He can catch the ball, this kind of stuff. So that's what I was saying for a while. It's like this Taysom is not a quarterback. He's a guy, he's a running back. You can use this, that, and the third, but he's not accurate enough. And if you had given Taysom Hill plays, like it could have been 3 to 4, and I said this for years when they were trying this, give him 5 plays to learn. Don't give him no more in terms of a quarterback. Give him 5 plays that he mastered. And when he comes in there, you run one of those 5 plays for Taysom as a quarterback outside of him ducking off and running, that kind of thing. But as a passer, those 5 plays, let him master it. And then that way you can be able to create 2 offenses in one, because it was actually a brilliant idea, it just wasn't executed properly. Because you have defensive coordinators would then have the game plan for 2 separate offenses. It'd almost be too terrible. It was a brilliant idea. It was just executed very poorly. But he is not a quarterback. And like I said, his injuries, I don't think he will be clear for the season. And like I said, you won't see him probably until way into the season. Now, in terms of Foster, and let's keep it going. Let me think. Well, I stopped it over here. All right. So anyway, the next one, the Saints re-up with tight end Juwan Johnson on a 3-year contract in March, thus cementing him as the club's number 1. Now, Foster would therefore have to again compete with Johnson and Hill for targets whenever he returns to the field. He'll get back before Taysom will, that's for sure. 28 years of age. And remember, Taysom Hill and both Foster Moreau are on 1-year contracts. Both of these guys, when their contracts is up this year, they're out of here. So you got a bunch of these guys. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill, out of here. Contract is up. These are the last year agreements. So a guy like Matavo would be, a guy like what's the other guy we had last year, big tight end, will have an opportunity to step up and play. So we'll see. But anyway, with that being said, 28-year-old Foster Moreau, who's a former 4th-round pick for the Raiders, 17 games for the Saints last year. His second season in New Orleans, he tied a career high with 5 touchdowns and had 32 catches on 413 receiving yards. Came up just 1 shy of tying his personal best mark he set in Vegas. Now, Foster suffered a knee injury during the Saints season finale and had to be carted off the field. Again, it's uncertain exactly when Foster will medically be cleared, though he's, of course, hopeful he will be at the start of the regular season. The knee is doing really great. I have to say we're ahead of schedule. That's what Foster recently said. Shout out to Rod Walker from NOLA. I'd be pretty happy with the timeline that he gets back either one of those spots, meaning there before the start of training camp for the start of the regular season. Given Foster's history of featuring, Kellen Moore's history of featuring tight ends, Foster Moreau, who signed a 3-year, $12 million pact with the Saints back in 23, could position himself for another multi-year extension if he returns to full health sooner than later. Will he come back? I guess, if you're the Saints, we'll see. But yeah, Taysom Hill is a major weapon for the Saints offense. Like I said, they're looking at him later on. Foster Moreau talking maybe the start of the season. We'll see. We hope both of these guys get on the field very soon, because Foster's a really good backup, tight end, really good in his blocking. And Taysom Hill's just a mismatch nightmare from hell playing, whether you're playing at running back or wide receiver or tight end. You just never know with Taysom Hill. He's a force. And if you have those guys available to help out Tyler or Spencer, that's just more power to you in the Saints offense, right? All right. So anyway, that's some of it. And like I said, man, we're going to just do a quick view at our depth chart right here and just look at our unofficial depth chart for New Orleans Saints. Shout out to you guys. Do me a service, fam. Y'all hit the like button on this Sunday afternoon. Hit that like button and all. Also, y'all can feel free to sub up if you're not a sub, baby. Sub up. Much love. All right. Much love. All right. And here, like I said, here it is right here. You see some of the stuff going on right here. Tyler listed as the starter with Spencer behind him. Jake Hayner is questionable. Hunter Deckers will get an opportunity. You might see a guy come into maybe a veteran. We'll see who it is later on. make an appearance into camp when the time comes. The running back room is very impressive. Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's very impressive running room. Just love to see what Kendre Miller, what we'll get. He has to, in his third year. We're hoping Kendre remains healthy. That'll be a big hit. Devin Neal is a really good young running back that will push the room to help out right there. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a good veteran who can also help there. So like with the running back room is Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, our top 3 guys. Then the backups, Bub Means, can Bub make a step? Kevin Austin Jr. showed some talent. Cedric Wilson needs to do better. Donovan Peoples-Jones, can he, give an opportunity because he's 6'2", physical, good hands, has decent speed too. He might be the guy you want to kind of fixate in if you look at the Saints wide receiver room because he's a veteran looking for an opportunity to press into the upper levels of the team. If he performs well, man, this will be interesting. Then there's Pettis, who earned his opportunity with his speed and how he played on special teams for the Saints last year. When given opportunity, Pettis made some good moves. Saints signed him on a 1-year deal, bringing him back. Mason Tipton was doing really good in preseason, fell off the boat when we hit into the regular season, disappeared into the year, dropped some passes, this type of stuff. I remember he had a touchdown catch. He just dropped it. Moochie Dixon and Chris Tyree, undrafted guys. That's the wide receiver room. Tight end room, we just talked about that. Juwan Johnson, Taysom, and Foster rehabbing. Jack Stahl is there. Butavo, the tight end who the Saints picked up, and later on in the draft, he's also going to be a factor in the room. Then you go offensive. Kevin Bank, we know how our offensive line is going to look, so that's one of the questions. As we move forward, there was some rumor revealed saying the Saints were going to shuffle the line. It was true. Kevin Banks Jr. and Tali Fuaga are our bookend tackles. Love that. Love these 2 first-round draft picks. Love their mentalities. They shifted Penning to guard. Penning has a competition with him and Dylan Ruddance, and Nick Saldiveri is also in the mix. So it'll be very interesting. Trevor's main competition is Dylan Ruddance, and Ruddance has some experience. He's on a 1-year proven contract. Penning is in his last year. So we should see a very, very interesting battle at that left guard position with Penning and Dylan Ruddance, to be honest with you. McCoy is at center with Will Clapp as his backup. Cesar Ruiz is at right guard. Now, like I said, I like the competition aspect, but when you get to the backups, I'm not really, we're going to need some veterans there. Josh Ball, Kyle Hergel, Josiah Izrahim, Easton Kilty, Torricelli Simpkins, all these, Nick Saldiveri, all these guys have some talent, but they're unproven guys. Unproven. Some of these guys are just prospects. I watched tape on Easton Kilty. Very good. We don't know how he's going to play. Torricelli Simpkins, the third, is also a very interesting prospect. And Landon Young, just to me, is just, I just didn't like how he played last year. He looked weak. He looked lost. And the Saints signed him back for whatever reason. I still think that's a position that needs, the Saints definitely need to add some more veterans to the backup offensive line. If something happened to our starters, could you imagine these other guys coming in here? I mean, we need some more. You got the one position, if you know all the Saints, that you can't afford to overlook and underman, it's that backup offensive line position. You cannot do that, because if you want to have success, even a little bit of success, you're going to have to run the ball. You can't have Tyler throwing it 30 times or Spencer throwing it 30 times a game. That's not going to win you anything with these young quarterbacks. You have to be able to run the ball using our veteran running game. Elvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm comfortable with our running attack. We got to play through Elvin. I know he turns 30 this year. We got to play through Elvin Kamara in the running attack if the Saints are going to have success and the young quarterbacks off the back of the play action. That's how it has to work. Juwan Johnson got to earn his money. You know, he got the contract. Now he has to step up to be a top 10 tight end in the NFL. There's no questions about it. Especially if we'll see Taysom delayed on in the year. Possibly Foster Moreau at the start, perhaps later on in the year as well. So Juwan Johnson, whoever the backup tight end is going to be, whether it's Jack Stahl or anybody else, Juwan Johnson is going to have to step up and be a different tight end than we are accustomed to seeing. So he can't drop the easy ones and catch the really tough ones. He's going to have to catch all of that from this guy. He's got to earn his money. It's time for him to step up and be a top 10. Saints are awarded him that. You got to step into that top 10 level. It's time, right? So, like I said, that's my thing. We can't, kind of mess around with the backup offensive line. We need to add some more good veterans to that backup offensive line. Then we go defensive. We talk about this all the time. I do y'all know how I like Brian Bresee. I think Brian Bresee is awesome. You still have guys like Vernon Broughton, who's a 3rd-round draft pick this year, looking at it. But Bresee and Broughton, B&B, those guys should be the guys starting at those end, that 3-4 end position. I don't think Cam should start. I already told y'all that Cam at this point should be a reserve. He shouldn't be starting for nobody. He should be a reserve coming off the bench. Devin Godchaux is a guy that should be at the nose tackle position over Nate Shepard. I was not impressed with Nate Shepard as a 4-3 end, let alone a 3-4. Are you kidding me? Shepard, I wasn't impressed with him as a 4-3 end. You better move that boy to the backup. So, and outside of that, Carl Granderson, Demario Davis, Pete Werner, Chase Young, love those guys at the linebacker positions. I'm going to be very interested to watch how the 34 defense, if the 4-3 shifts to the 3-4 with the Saints, with Granderson and Chase at the linebacker positions. Demario Davis is there. Really excited about that. Really excited about Danny Stutzman and Jalen Ford as reserves there for Dill Diggs. I think it's going to be very good for the Saints. Where does Isaiah Foskey fit in this mix? He's listed as a linebacker there. Foskey was going to have to step it up, man, and put some competition to Jonah Williams, who has experience playing in Coach Staley's system. So it's going to be interesting battles in camp, especially at the linebacker position, fam. When you got a 3-4 unit, that linebacker position is very important. So the Saints going to keep some more linebackers than they accustomed to keeping in the 34 look. And of course, in the secondary, Kool-Aid McKinstry, ready for that second year, ready to lead up to stardom, perhaps. You see Alontae Taylor, depending on where he goes, the Saints playing him inside, outside. They'll figure out where they want Alontae to play. Ugo Amadi is listed as the top nickel guy. We know Quincy Riley should be ready as well going into it. When the time counts, he should be ready, but it's also Isaac Giddams there. We talked about that. One of the other breakdowns, also like Dallas Beanham, the young undrafted guy. Love that guy. His play style, really good. I like Rico Payton. It's another really good young cornerback to see how they develop. And, of course, our safeties. Tyrann Mathieu in his final year with the Saints. Saints' biggest acquisition of this year, Justin Reed at the safety position, was humongous. Him and Tyrann Mathieu will occupy the safety spots. Jordan Howden will still have to develop. Jonas Sanker is the future at the safety position. Once Tyrann is gone, he'd be sitting there getting reserve reps. JT Grant, the rest of those guys. And, of course, even if you get to the special team aspect of it, which is also important, and you look at guys like Blake Grupe and a punter battle, that'll be very interesting, too. A lot of people see James Burnip, who's considered the best punter in college this past year, didn't get drafted. Saints got that guy as an undrafted punter. A lot of people think that James Burnip would burn Matthew Hayball out of town. Like Hayball punted his other guy out of town before. They're looking at him possibly Burnip basically moving Hayball out of town. And he could very well do it. The guy's very good. So we'll be looking at that punter battle as well. And, of course, who's going to return? Who's going to be the returner? Rashid Shaheed is listed here. Well, like I said, this is unofficial. Velus Jones Jr., who was brought in here. He's a former wide receiver, running back, prospect, whatever you want to call him, from the Chicago Bears. They see him as a return guy. And Pettis, who was here doing kick return duties. For whatever reason, they got Kendra Miller listed as a kick returner. Keep him away from that. Maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that capacity at time. But if Rashid Shaheed is seen as your second or third most valuable wideout, you don't want him in the kick return, punt return aspect of it. You don't want him to get dinged up there. So Velus Jr., Pettis, and others. Maybe there'll be another guy that could step out of and develop and maybe add to the return game. Perhaps Donovan Peoples-Jones. He could be thrown in the mix there. So only time will tell. So, like I said, man, we'll be seeing. We all talked about this before. We mentioned the area about the Saints in terms of what it looks like going forward in the schedule side of things, which will be interesting, right? The schedule side of things. That's the major thing you got to pay attention to. A lot of people picked the Saints 6-7 wins. Some people had, like myself, thought with that easy schedule, that they can get more than that this year. But it depends. It really depends on, can they establish the identity right away? Can the identity be established right away? And once established, play through it. The big point of it all is, can success be had with the Saints depends on the consistency of the Saints lines. How good can the offensive line be right away? How good could the Saints up front be on defense? Those are the two things. If you can run the ball and play defense and turn teams over and give sharp fields to your offense, that could really help you, gather wins. Now, when you first start off in that first month, it's going to be about not trying to play as clean football as you can, keeping the turnovers down, playing intelligent football, taking advantage of the adversaries' turnovers. When they turn it over, you make them pay. That kind of thing has to be the point going forward, because that's what it's all about. People say, Q, can they really win as many of these games? They can, if they're serious about that offensive line. Offensively speaking, you got to run the ball. You can't have Spencer or Tyler throwing 30 times a game. It has to be them running the football and balancing it with the run to get into the play action. It has to be. It has to be. If it's not that, it's going to be a long year. You can't allow that to fall on the quarterback. You have to run the ball. TJ Pagnetti and the new old offensive line coach, they're back. I expect the Saints will have a rock'em sock'em ground pound game, because that's what that Pagnetti guy does. That Pagnetti guy is a ground pound thought process type guy. He's going to try to make sure those Saints offensive linemen are ready to play some football. But like I said, we still need some veterans to back up. We're just too young as backups. There's too many unproven guys as backups on our backup offensive line. So we need to add some talent there. If we're going to use the model, we need to run the ball. We cannot we can't allow ourselves to be stopped in the running attack. You're asking for disaster. It'll be last year all over again. We can't let them one-dimensionalize us. We have to be able to run the ball consistently. That's what it comes down to. All right. Big ups to you guys. Appreciate you as well. All right. What's up, JT? Shout out to you. Young Blood 46. What's up, fam? Says Q. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. In the Saints running game or the back room, he's got the skill set. He can really help a young quarterback out. Indeed, man. If you watch him play, he reminds me, maybe not as, because see, I'm kind of biased toward Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's an LSU Tiger. And I watched Clyde Edwards-Helaire put up big games for LSU. Saturday after Saturday, he went to the pros. His games translated with the Chiefs. He went up there. He was a space back. He had a little power to him. He got some speed to him. He catched the ball really well. Yes, they sleeping on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire that's why I said I like the Saints running room. I like the Saints running room because of, Kamara don't have to be beaten down into the ground. You got Kendre Miller in his third year. Kendre got to show up. I ain't going to say the man in an insurance policy, but Devin Neal is a really good running back. That's Kansas' all-time leading rusher right there. And they had some pretty good running backs came out of Kansas. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a guy the Saints picked up. I think he was the first guy that they signed. And then when they signed, I was like, wow, because he does a lot. He can help you out in special teams and return aspect. He's a guy you can line up like a wide receiver if you're short there. He's a guy that complements every one of the backs that you have. If you want to decoy Elvin, you can run a 3 running back rotation with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You can move Elvin Kamara and space him out and line him up like a wide receiver and have Clyde on the other side. He catch the ball just like a wide receiver. Have Kendre Miller back there as your lone back and be able to run with a 3 running back look. You can do this. He adds versatility to what you got. You don't have to wait for him to get there. If you need a wide receiver out there, Clyde can come in, in a pinch and do something for you. He's very versatile. So hopefully we understand Kellen Moore has a good head for his offense. Maybe that's when he's seen when they sign him is that, hey man, everybody could use a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And his style reminds me so much of Darren Sproles. It's ridiculous. He might be a little chunky, a little muscular than Darren was, but his running style reminds me so much of Sproles. He just got a little bit more power to it. But the guy is very versatile and can help you win games. So absolutely, young bloods. You're right, bro. They're definitely doing that. All right. Thank you. Brian says okay. Shout out to you, Brian. Thank you for tuning in, man. He says, Boise resident here. Just let your coach play QB. Dude's often awesome, and injury run one true chance at playing. Yeah, well, he's coaching. If you make a mention of Kellen Moore, his bright-eyed, bushy-tailed approach to everything. You know, he got. I call him young JFK. You know, he got. It's. I don't know, man. I'm just crazy, I guess. But I can see him at the press conference. Got these big ass teeth. And he always smiling, and he's a smart guy, man. But I really like the fact that it's a young guy. It's not a regular Saints pick. It's an outside the building type pick. He's a young guy that knows offense. We talked about wanting a head coach that was an offensive minded guy. And the guy, you give him his quarterback. He picked his quarterback. You got to build the offensive line, give him a running attack. Saints have Staley. I think Staley's going to be a really defensive coordinator, a really good one for us. He's going to run a system. It's going to be really fun watching the Saints offense figure it out and the Saints defense figure it out. This is really going to be an exciting training camp period because it's different. You know, the team switching from 4-3 to 3-4. You got players that was defensive ends moving to linebackers. How do they adjust? You got new players coming in, trying to fit in. The competition on some of these players is going to be a little bit more stiffer. You got the offensive team coming in, trying to establish themselves. They got even return. They also special teams competitions to be aware of that we're interested in. The punter battle, you know, watching that. The kick returners, who win that? Is Velas? Is it, you know, that type of thing. So it's different and it's new. All right, thank you, bro. All right, Synergy Fitness 365 says, Q, we are too small. That's why we had so many injuries. Too small. Just across the board is what you're saying, Synergy Fitness? Too small. I mean, kind of quantify that for me, bro. Kind of be more specific. I don't know if we were too small. As a team last year, I would kind of say a lot of times we were just inept. They wasn't trained properly. You know, like when Dennis Allen was running the team. I mean, guys, and Elvin Kamara said this, and I said this before Elvin said it, because you can watch the tape and see that the team was lacking discipline. Elvin said guys would false start in practice, and nobody would say nothing to him. He said that, and I'm like, that's so not what you're supposed. That is so not accountable. So it doesn't surprise me that the Saints were false starting during the games. They were dumb. They were slow. They were unintelligent in many. It don't surprise me because the preparation was bad, because you had a possum, ugly possum running the team, as opposed to somebody that was intelligent, that believed in accountability. He talked about it early on, but the guy couldn't spell accountability. He didn't know what that is. He could not keep them on course, on code. He had no code of ethics. He had no code of moral. He'd throw his team under the bus. He had backstab players. He'd get mad at players that called him out for lying, like Jameis did. Jameis said he lied to me about picking up the job once he got healthy. He's petty. He rigged the competition, the backup QB job last year, giving Jake Hayner opportunities that he did not deserve over Spencer Rattler. If I seen that, I know Spencer was upset. If I was Spencer Pops, I would be mad about that. I would be mad, like, hold on, my son beat that guy. What you doing? But you can't, and that's what I'm saying. An off-code moron like that would destroy his own team, and standing up there saying at the end of it that I didn't fail. I don't see it as I failed. I just seen it that they didn't want me anymore. An idiot, moron, possum-faced chump like that, you shouldn't have been nowhere even close to the team, if you ask me. How did this guy get a head coaching job? Are you freaking serious? It's ridiculous. But I didn't fail. I don't look at it as I failed. I look at it as they didn't want me anymore. They didn't want you no more because you failed, stupid. No, you failed miserably. You went on a 7-game losing streak and they canned your ass. That's the bottom line. I mean, who thinks like that? It's just the guy is insane. But outside of that, that kind of energy is gone, and players see that. If that frustrated me just watching the team as thoroughly as I watch them, seeing the cracks and fractures. I was telling y'all that before it came out. I was like, this team is not accountable. This coach is not accountable. He destroys and fractionalizes his own team. Lattimore was upset about it, talking about it. And instead of them going to Lattimore and say, you know what, you're right, we're not doing it correctly, they reshuffle his contract to trade him like he the locker room cancer because they mad about the losing. He's mad, not the dumb coach, not the stupid Mickey Loomis, but they're trying to trade him out. Oh, I'm trying to get this guy out of here. He's causing problems. No, it's your stupid coach, bro. It's your dumb coach. He's tearing his own team up. That is no longer the case. The guy's gone. Kellen Moore seems like he has some sense. He's a young coach. I'm excited about the energy, and I'm just done with all that other stuff. I'm sorry I went on the tangent like that. But but that's how I see it. When you talk about being too small, maybe in brain cells, I got you. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. I just figured it out. Synergy Fitness 365. They was too small in brain cells. That's what it was. They was definitely lacking that last year. They had no leadership there. That guy was not a leader. He was just a saboteur, and it worked too. It broke us down, and wasted time. It just wasted the window of DeMario. It wasted these guys, Cam. It wasted their window. You had a certain period of time, and his shenanigans wasted. All right, Brandon says Ruiz. I went on a tangent on that. Ruiz says Brandon said Ruiz needs to go. We'll see what Pagnetti and our offensive line coach will do with Cesar Ruiz. Y'all know my thoughts on Cesar Ruiz. Even though people was laying out the PFF stuff and all this snaps and all this kind of stuff, man, forget all that. Watch the tape. We do the film study on it. We watch the tape. Cesar Ruiz should be 3 times better than when I've said this before. Ruiz should be the best lineman you have on your team. He had all those reps, and I don't know why he's not better than. I mean, maybe they're not pushing him hard enough, maybe not pushing himself. But Cesar Ruiz should be the best offensive lineman you have, and he's not. He's not even close to what he truly could be if he would take the game serious. And maybe we could find an offensive line coach that can really get him there. But the guy's supposed to be way better than what he is, man. Way better. All right, Jade says, Q, who's your favorite player on the Saints roster right now? My favorite player is wide receiver RS. He said RS is your best player, the wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed. Okay, Rashid Shaheed. Best player on the Saints team currently right now. I have to think about that. I think about that. I like Carl Granderson. Let's just say Carl Granderson. I like Cam. But Cam been tripping lately, man. I still like Cam, but Cam been tripping, talking about blaming injuries for why the team failed. So it wasn't the stupid possum face coach we had last year that had no accountability, that was backstabbing his team. It wasn't him. Wasn't him, Cam? I question these guys. Well, of course it was, Q. I can't say it, though. Yeah, I'm going to say it. But it was coaching. A lot of times it was coaching. You are very rarely going, and a lot of people get this, and I just said just for it to go out into the universe. If you're a coach of any physical, if you're playing basketball, football, baseball, whatever you're a head coach of, there's a depth chart, this thing called a depth chart. You have the ability to create or craft your team in a way where it is designed to absorb as many injuries as possible. And if you got a good relationship with your general manager, you make it a point to, hey, man, if injuries get too much, we need to be really active in free agency, in trades, or going to find people or pilfer people from somebody else's practice squad. We got to be able to have that mentality. So if injuries start eating us up, we got to be able to move around and make plays so we can stay on course. We got to have that, because you can't sit here and then not make moves enough to absorb what's going on. Because number one, injuries are going to happen to your team. That's just, you can't get away from it. Injuries are a real thing. Injuries happen to every team. All teams are impacted by injuries. So it should not be used as an excuse. I remember when the Saints played the Raiders. The Raiders had more injuries than the Saints. And then the Raiders had 18 people that were hurt. And I think 11 of them were starters, and they still beat the Saints. What's the role rate? Injuries is a real thing. You have to figure a way around them. Just because they happen to your team is not an excuse or is not a pass for you to collect wins and then turn around at the end of the season and say, well, the damn injury is cute. We don't want to hear that, man. We don't miss me with that, Cam Jordan, Because you know damn well, you of all people know, you one of the smartest Saints out there. You of all people know, you've been in the NFL for years. You know you're not supposed to stand your ass up there and blame injuries on why the team failed and don't say nothing else about the coaching, about they didn't push you guys hard enough. You didn't practice hard enough. You didn't read and study them playbooks like you were supposed to. You know, you made bad personnel decisions. All that plays a part of it before you just pick one thing out, injuries, and aim at it. And I said, boy, if injuries was a real person with a mount and could debate, it would put these people in the street. That's all they do is sit up here at the end of the year and blame shit on something that you're not supposed to be blaming it on. And he know that. At the end of the start of the year, that them people, and I've caught him several times doing this, Cam in particular, at the start of the year, he'll get up there and say, this year, we can't blame injuries. And then by the end of the year, they blaming injuries. I'm like, what kind of crap is this? They really think we don't remember shit. I'm like, yeah, you said at the start of it, injuries is not an excuse. And by the year end, you're using it as the excuse, not one of the excuses. The excuse, the only one. They don't mention nothing else. They don't talk about nothing else. They don't talk about them going to work harder, lifting more weights, running a little longer, changing up their regiments, you know, doing stuff like that, committing harder, doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, holding player only meetings without the coach. Remember that? I was saying for years when these people were losing, where are the player only meetings? Where are the goddamn player only meetings? They had one player only meeting, and then Dennis Allen sitting up in there and he catered the joint. And I'm like, what? That's not a players only meeting if you got the coach in there. And then they lost the game. The game after the players only meeting with Dennis Allen, he catered the joint. They lost the game. I'm like, dog, what are you? And then they get used to losing. Then you hear DeMario and Elvin Kamara coming out talking about it. And then you become check collectors because you're so used to losing and just been a losing ass zero. Then you just start, well, we're going to start taking up for this losing ass shit. It's paying me money. And then when you do that, then that's when I rip you in half. That's when I go in on you because you're not, if you're a winner in life or whatever you do, you're not going to sit up here gleefully and patiently and put up with losing. If you're a leader of the team and these guys are supposed to be captains, they're supposed to be turning over rocks and creating complete hell in that building to get back to winning. Because guys, there's complacent players in there. There's bum ass players in there that ain't supposed to be in there. When stuff like that happen, you got to start shaking stuff up. Well, I'm just keeping it real because you got whoever last year the Saints had a lot of people collecting checks and not turning in shit. A lot of guys, them guys need to be routed out and pushed up off this team. We don't want guys here that just settle for that bump stuff. We don't want you. We want you here. You give 110%. That's what you're getting paid for. That's what we want to see. Don't come in here with that half-ass stuff. We don't want to see it. That's real talk. That's real deal. You're going to put that Fleur de Lis on side your helmet and you're going to go out there and play football. You're going to do it the right way. You're going to play with your heart, and all your mind and give a full out effort. If you lose based on that, we can live with that. But not all this other stuff here. We're not tolerating no stuff. And them boys know that's the truth. They know that's the truth. We ain't going to sit up here and let you placate for these people. But like I said, I like Carl Granderson as one of the guys, one of my favorite Saints guys. Cam, I like Cam. I ain't been on that bullshit lately. But I do like Carl Granderson. I do like Cam. I do like Elvin. You know, I like these guys. They're good. You know, they be slipping every now and again. You got to get on them. But Kool-Aid, McKinstry, guys like this, Tyrann Mathieu. I like Tyrann. Even when he was on that foolishness too, with Dennis Allen as the cool coach. And then when Dennis Allen gets fired, he on the press conference a week or so later saying that he couldn't be himself. Nobody did a story on that, by the way. I was like, hold on. Dennis Allen is the cool coach. And then next thing you know, the Saints they're not letting him be Tyrann. That he couldn't be Tyrann. These dudes be on that sucker shit, man. But see, I got a good memory and a sense of humor. So I get at your ass. All right, what's up, JT? Shout out to you. Jason, how you doing, sir? Much love. 504 Cole says, Q, how do you feel about the shuffling of the offensive line? This could be a strength for the team. I love the shuffling. Having the bookends of Kelvin Banks Jr. and Tali Fuaga, love that. I think those two guys have the proper temperament. If you watch footage of Kelvin Banks Jr., you ain't gonna see nasty, but controlled demolition, baby. Let me tell you something. Tali Fuaga, you already know. Love that because you got to have the bookends. McCoy, like Eric, McCoy is another one. Eric McCoy is another guy. Like the injuries just really beat up on him last year, and he got healthy. He played really well the first 2 games. Got hurt, came back after 8 games. Played a few games, didn't look good. Played like 3 or 4 games, didn't look all that. Got hurt again, season over with. When I seen that, I was like, we got to start looking at a good veteran backup for McCoy, possibly drafting somebody to be dealing with those injuries. But when McCoy is healthy, he's one of the top 3 best centers in the game. But for him, you got to have a smart. That was another thing last year too. The Saints didn't have a good backup center who was as smart, not have McCoy's gifts that have it all, like his speed and his strength and the brains, but at least have a backup with brains that understand what protections he got to call out and all this kind of old stuff. To have him on tap if McCoy has an issue. And maybe having another center option readily handled because, McCoy got what? He ain't ready to go just yet. But having a backup guy there to, learning the job wouldn't hurt. Will Clapp is there. Will Clapp is smart. He don't have all the attributes, the physical attributes that McCoy has. So the Saints figured that might be the answer. But yeah, Eric McCoy is another good guy too. But I do like that. The question mark is Trevor Penning. People say he failed at the blind side. He played well at the right side. He can't do bad at the guard position. No, probably not. But the reality is you got a guy who's not an old guy in Dylan Runnels who started a lot of games at guard, who was drafted as a guard that Trevor Penning will have to beat out for the position. So Dylan Runnels, to me, even though the unofficial depth chart has Dylan Runnels as a backup to Trevor Penning, Dylan Runnels is going to give Penning a run for his money for that job. So that is not a safe position if you're Penning to learn another position in 3 years, Saints. And then, of course, the pressure is on him because they're not picking up his 5th-year option. This is his last year. And then you got Dylan Runnels on a 1-year deal. So good battle at the left guard position. And, of course, Nick Saldiveri is still a question mark. What the hell does he do, right? We'll see. So I think it is definitely a strength. I do like the shuffling of the line. That's Kellen Moore trying to get it together. TJ Pagnetti, our offensive line coach, is also there and makes the mix along with him. It's going to be interesting to see how the Saints do. Like I said, I just want some more depth there. Jack says, we got 4 first-round picks and the second-round pick on the O-line. If they don't play lights out this year, then fire the scouting department, and they should be top 10 all lines with all the draft capital. Yeah, we got a lot. We got 4 first-rounders and the second-round pick. You're right, bro. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see. All right. Yeah. Tim says, back to 2 rushes. 2 rushes first down, my brother. That's something I talked about. What's up, Cameron? 2 rushes first down is what it should be. It should be that. My thing, like I said, I just want to see more depth behind those guys just in case injuries start hitting us. Toy says, what's up, Q? I'm glad Aaron don't want to pull up. He toxic. Anyway, indeed, bro. I've said Aaron Rodgers is a hollow husk. He's you would get more value out of your quarterback position if you put a helmet on your recliner. You'll probably get more value out of that. You'll get more usage out of if you put a helmet on top of a stapler, if you put a helmet on top of your broom, if you put a helmet on top of your trash can outside, if you put a Saints helmet on top of your newborn baby, you'll get more value than if you have Aaron Rodgers on your team. Let's just keep it all the way funky. Aaron Rodgers had last year. He had a really good opportunity to show that he was hitting on something at his advanced age, and he couldn't do nothing with what the Jets gave him. And he had wide receivers, he had running backs, he had a defense, and couldn't turn it up. And a team willing to go all out for him. Couldn't do nothing in them 2 years with the Jets. He's done. Smoked goose, cooked ham, turkey, stick a fork in a guy. He's a husk. For him saying he can't come down to New Orleans, good. We don't want Aaron Rodgers. I said that from the get-go. He's not going to be the kind of veteran you want. He did a shitty job of doing, like I said, what he did was what Brett Favre did. He took on the same traits. Brett Favre didn't help him. It's famous. This is famous because Brett Favre didn't help him learn the QB position. Brett Favre didn't like the fact that he was there. When Aaron Rodgers took over, he did the same shit to Jordan Love. He did. He did the same crap to Jordan Love. He didn't help him either. So we're not going to help you. We don't want Aaron Rodgers, not because of the stuff he said that he don't come to Louisiana. I was saying it before the fact that he can't help you win. He can't help you win in the way that you need to win. The Saints need to win in a way where the young quarterbacks learn the game. I know what Bill Parcells said many years ago about if you got a rookie, you got a loss. That's what Bill Parcells said. And that holds true. If you got a rookie, you got a loss. That's what Bill Parcells said. But the reality is we just got to know how to use our rookies, right? We got to know how we got to give them a running attack. We can't let it fall all on them. So we'll see what happens there. All right, big ups to you guys. All right. What's up, Cartel? Desi, I see you, Desi, cracking up. What's up, Giovanni? Shout out to you, man. Good to see you in the truth in the chat as well. L-Dub said, I saw an article recently saying that all the players are loving Kellen Moore and his philosophy. They feel like their voices are being heard. Yeah, and you can see what Kellen Moore is young. He's a young, and that's usually the case when you have a young head coach, right? He doesn't know enough to be putting himself like he's so mighty that he's away from the players, right? We got a general manager, VP guy that does that. But if you are Kellen Moore, you don't know enough about everybody to position yourself like you are Bill Belichick, like Big Belichick used to do, right? He's stoic. He ain't stoic now. Whatever he did from a past life, old girl is giving it to him. Hey, y'all put one in the chat if y'all know what I'm talking about, baby. Baby, old girl is giving it to him, baby. Bill Belichick, all this here, the hoodie and the Bill Belichick don't play and all this, that girl running Bill Belichick like he in a marathon somewhere. That boy running a 10K right now with that old sucker there. That old sucker. That old guy, that old boy, that reporter asked him, where did you guys meet? And old girl said, we not going into that. Why not? Where y'all met at? Where did you meet? Did he meet you in the strip club? Where he met you at? Because I know it wasn't healthy. I'm just saying. Wherever he didn't meet you in church, ma'am. Let's just keep it all the way funky. Let's just keep it all the way. He didn't meet you in a church somewhere. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say I can name 3 places I know he didn't meet you at. And y'all put amen in the chat if all of these is right, baby. He didn't meet you in the church. Let's just be honest with you. He didn't meet you in the church. Let's just be honest. I ain't say church. I say church. My peoples out there. He didn't meet her in the church. He didn't meet her at the library. I promise you that. And he damn sure ain't met her at the supermarket. I could promise you that. I promise you that, baby. Baby, he ain't meet you in the church. He didn't meet you at the supermarket. And he damn sure ain't meet you at the library. So if you ain't getting into that, baby, I can pick up 3 on the opposite side where I know he met you at. You know, but we ain't getting into that. Why not? Let it all. You won't have an interview. Let it all out, baby. I just think it's hysterical to me. You see some of these fuckers out here running around here and they got these girls, that old girl running him all over the place. She don't know nothing about what he do. And he got her sitting on top of that. She ain't qualified for nothing. Oh my God. You know what? I'm gonna stop. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All the hospitals. She didn't mean it. She wasn't candy striping at the hospital. She wasn't over there helping sick kids. And Bill Belichick was there, and Bill Belichick seen her and met her. I promise you that. Baby, did you hear me? He ain't meet her there. Oh my goodness, man! I need to cut it out, man. I have to go. I have to go on that one. Can you believe this? This is the great Bill Belichick, the Hood. You know, whatever the nickname they got for him. And I guarantee you what, boy, if North Carolina banned that old girl from it, people say that girl is out of it, man. She mean. They say she mean. North Carolina banned her and then unbanned her the same day. I was like, damn, how you ban somebody and unban them the same day? What's going on here? They say she mean, y'all. Y'all heard that? That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what your old ass get for shopping at the wrong places. Let's just put it like that. All right, shout out. All right, Chantel says, Q, you will be very impressed with the DPJ. He is a great player. All right, thank you, Chantel. Appreciate you there. Yeah, good veteran whiteout. Jack says, yeah, he's good. Yeah, good vet. Good vet. All right, Giovanni said the players seem like Kellen. He says the players seem like Kellen. He says Ross came out with a new article pretty much saying Kellen spoke to all the players before Carr retirement, spoke on ESPN, clear communication from the head coach. Okay, thank you, brother. Appreciate you there. Kid Cowboy says, maybe you can get Kirk Cousins. No, sir, Kid Cowboy. No, sir. Kid Cowboy, number 66, no, sir. What Cowboys? Is that the Dallas Cowboys? I'm going to give you some credit. I'm going to say it's the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I'm going to give you credit. All right. We're going to say it's the Oklahoma State Cowboys. No, we don't want Kirk Cousins. No, we're going to let the Falcons keep that one. That's the funniest one right there. Trey Lance from the Chargers. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Trey Lance ain't bad, bro. I don't know. He's similar to the Pickett kid. He just need a place that believe in him, I guess. Anthony says Jameis Winston didn't think Dennis Allen was a cool coach. Indeed, Jameis said that he lied to him. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. He said he lied to him. He came out and said he lied to him. And I said, man, first thing popped in my mind was, where's Mickey Loomis at? Because Jameis went to the media. He went to Nick Underhill and Triplett and said that to those guys, right? Because they were the ones asking them. He told them, the media, that I remember Mike Triplett was asking the question. It was either Nick or Mike. But the thing was where was Mickey Loomis at? Mickey Loomis supposed to be the general manager. He's supposed to be general manager some shit. He's supposed to be finding out, if they got wrinkles to be ironed out or if there's issues within the building, that we need to stop this before it causes cracks and fractures throughout the team. What was Mickey Loomis? The answer is in his room with the door closed. He doesn't talk to the players. He doesn't need to be the general manager. He's not a real general manager. Then y'all heard his recent interview about how he gave us a little bit of insight when he actually said something, because most of the stuff he says is out of touch. But he said that he likes the off season because the off season he can do his thing. He says in the off season it's the opposite of something foolishness like that. And I says, no, it's not. The off season, in season is the same thing. You're supposed to be more active in the in season, just the same way you're off in off season. The season don't stop if you're a general manager. If injuries are hitting your team in the end season when games matter, then you need to be acting like the off season. You need to be making trades, signing players, and making sure your roster stays stabilized while injuries are hitting you. That's how you do it. That guy, I told y'all, that guy don't operate the same. He thinking whatever you do in the off season, it will matter through the end season. And then at the end of it, if it don't fail, hell, I just come out and just say, injuries. They'll never know. They'll believe what I said. No, we won't. We won't believe you anymore because you're a liar. All right. King Chosen One says, I'm late. I was outside running. All right. Shout out to you, brother. Trey. What's up, Trey? Shout out to my dog, Trey. Randy. What's up, Randy? Says, hey, Q, you think our offensive line will finish as a top 10 unit if everybody can stay healthy? That's a good one, bro. I don't know, bro. If McCoy stays healthy, it's a good chance, man. If Kevin Banks, Tali Fuaga, Cesar Ruiz would have to step his game up. But that would be like on the lineman and the scheme, the fit of our offensive line and our helpers. That a run game coordinator is getting a lot of TJ Pagnotti, getting a lot of pub because what he can do potentially. But if they stay healthy, they should be a top 15 unit, bro, at least, right? You won't want to say a top 10, top 12 unit. I would not be surprised. Because you got the guns, you got Elvin, you got Kendra. If you extend that question and say if the offensive line, can they be a top 10 unit and then also extend and say Elvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, and Devin Neal, those guys stay healthy. If our running back room, along with our offensive linemen starting 5 stays healthy, hell yeah, they're a top 10 unit. We got that. Just kind of add the running back into it, man. Rodgers, English says Q, that Rodgers article came right on the heels of an article about Peyton leaving because the city was unlivable for him. Well, bro, yeah, and listen, man, it's all right. New Orleans ain't for everybody, and the reality is a lot of them guys don't even stay in New Orleans. Let's just keep it all the way funky. What Peyton was living up in on the North Shore, wasn't he living in Sanctuary? That's a big gated community, probably the biggest one. People know what Sanctuary is a big, rich community where a lot of wealthy people live. It's a bunch of houses. I think Zion people live in there, something like that. But it's a bunch of people, like wealthy people. So it's not the same environment like you are going through the same thing regular folk is going through. Give me a break, right? Because most of these guys, they don't live in the city. They live outside the city limits. They live in the suburban areas around the city. They live in Kenner where the country clubs are or something like that. Now, if you're an undrafted guy, you're probably living in an apartment building right behind, not behind the facility, but on the opposite side of the tracks behind the facility. They got a bunch of units and a lot of them guys be living over there. But in the end, if you're a guy like a Peyton and all these kind of people, man, they live in rich country clubs, man. What they talking about? It's a different experience. You know, it ain't the same experience. Pardon me. Like they say, fancy that. Yeah, it's not the same experience. Yeah, King Chosen once said Parcells on them gas station pills. Man, he on something, bro. I don't know what to say, but I was watching. I was like, man, are you kidding me? What's up, Chris? Shout out to you, brother. Good to see you in the chat. All right. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, man. All right. Chris says, bar, strip club, or she worked at the golf course. Bro, let me tell you, man. It was something like that. But like I said, I ain't going to go too far into it. But Kid Cowboy said he picked up no, he didn't. The gym might be a club somewhere with you know what I'm saying? Now listen, he had a boss. Kraft, who owner of the paper. Now y'all remember what Kraft was into. What was Kraft cheesy ass into, huh? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember what Kraft was into? Huh? You know what Kraft, y'all remember what Kraft was doing? With how he was getting his jollies and happy endings? I know. I mean, at the end of the day, man, all I got to tell you, baby, when it's out, baby. It's out. I'm going to tell you, man, I don't know what to say about that one. Baby. Baby, Parcells is all over. Baby, I don't know what to say. Hey, man, listen. You get somebody to help you, but this woman here is going to destroy everything. The woman going to destroy everything. She going to destroy everything. That's not the one. Listen, fam. And I talk to y'all about this all the time. If you're going to bring somebody into your life, bring somebody into your life that's going to bring a positive to your life. You know what I'm saying? Don't bring somebody into your life just shutting. I don't think you got many friends. So it ain't hard to gaffle them up. Fam, it ain't hard to gaffle them up. I ain't gonna lie to you, because they would talk about who Bill Belichick friends is. And they started McDaniels and all these other guys. I said, man, them freaking yes men, man. They're gonna let Bill Parcells get gaffled up by this woman. Listen, man, listen. You gonna bring somebody in your life, make sure they qualified. You know what I'm saying? You're going to bring somebody into your life. Make sure they qualified to run some stuff. Ask them if they ran something bigger than a yogurt stand. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is a multi-million-dollar operation. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just bring that lady into your organization. You tear up everything. Run off the people. She all up in this commercials. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. The woman all up in his commercials. Y'all seen that? Put one in the chat. Y'all seen that? She her untalented ass all up in his commercials. She done got famous off of him. She done built a side empire about $9 million off. And they sit up here worried about Travis Hunter and what's gonna happen to Travis Hunter. Hell, it ain't just young fools. They got old ones out there too. I mean, listen, man, the moral of the story, whether you young or old or in between, do not put unqualified people, bring them into your life and elevate them into a position over you. Whatever you do, please think with the right head. Okay, you heard that? With the right head. You know, like, hold on, guy. Hold on, that's a children's show here. Hold on, it's a children's show. All right, big up. What's up, Chantel? She says, Q, do you think the Saints should go after Nick Chubb? Man, that would be awesome. I think that would be awesome, Chantel. I think it should be, that would be really good if they went after Nick. The only thing is, I don't think the Saints would. It would definitely ain't bring another value to the running back room, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, man, listen here. I would absolutely love to have Nick Chubb down here. If Kendre Miller can't stay healthy, now if Kendre Miller can't stay healthy, it's time for him to get on the body here. We're going to have to pack and ship him somewhere. But thank you, Chantel. Appreciate it.
Stay cool. Nobody gets hurt. Take the money out. All of it. Come on. Wasting my time now. Come on. Come on. Stop stalling.
All right. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. All right. Hey, man, I'm just dropping some game, baby. Stop me if I'm wrong. Baby, all kind of stuff happening, man. We down here, man. People running out of the jail. All the boys was missing was a starter pistol, but saddles on their back. Oh, man. People running out of the prison around here. Man, what's going on? People going to jail for helping people? Got crazy. Man, nobody watching the cameras. Oh my goodness, there's so much material I could talk about. Have y'all laughing for a whole 2-3 hours, man. Have y'all laughing for a whole another 2 hours. All right. Shout out to y'all, man. All right, L-Dub says probably met at the Crafts Massage. There you go. God damn. That's right. Chris said, I've never seen a man that's ashamed to tell us. Well, yeah, hey, bro, he might have answered that if she ain't shut him down. Remember, she shut the man down. She shut him down. Remember that. She said, oh, we're not answering that. They filming live. And she just spoke up. Like, man, get this lady out of here. This lady mentally ill, bro. But look at him sitting up there. He's sitting up there, his looking straight. Like they go home and she just whoop his tail. She just beat him down. He's sitting there scared straight. Like what's that? Who is this? This is the mighty Bill Belichick that everybody was scared of. And the woman put the whip on him. Boy, let me tell you something. Oh my goodness. Oh man. You can say a lot about Mickey Loomis, but I can't say that, man. Mickey is handling this business. Let's just say that, man. You can't say that. Bill Belichick. All this type of stuff. Bob tripping, man. Let me stay on topic, man. Professor says, Q, what do you think about playing pinning at right guard and moving Ruiz to left guard or backup center? We've been on that backup center, Professor. You know what? You're a smart man, but we've been saying that for a while about, because I thought the plan was if McCoy struck, because Sean Payton's seen something. Right? He's seen something before, he's seen something about McCoy to the fact that he got rid of the veteran guard that made the Pro Bowl a couple of years. I always forget the man's name. He got rid of the man. And then next thing you know, they drafted a center. I was saying this the whole time. Don't do that because Drew Brees was old and he could not move. These people crazy. It's 1+1, And the man, Drew, you don't shuffle the line. You don't put new offensive linemen, rookies in front of a quarterback that can't move. You're asking for trouble. I said, if you draft a young lineman there, I thought they were going to sign a veteran. They let the other guy leave. They brought in Cesar Ruiz. He was supposed to be the center, and they were supposed to move McCoy to guard. Sean Payton seen something and wanted to make the change and move McCoy off of center to guard. Then when Ruiz got here, because remember, Ruiz was a center. He never played guard in college. And he wasn't the top center prospect. It was another guy that I thought should have been ranked higher than Ruiz, but that's a different story. When Ruiz got here, Sean Payton was supposed to make the switch and try it out. But then he said, hold on, let me give McCoy some extra room to see what he can do. That must have motivated Eric McCoy because Sean Payton gave him a week, I think 2 weeks of training at that position, maybe 10 days, something like that. And then the next week, they moved Cesar Ruiz to center, moved guard to McCoy. All this was in training camp, right? Leading up. And Ruiz was playing center, and then he got hurt. It was like three or 4 days into it. Ruiz got hurt, and then Sean Payton just scrapped it and then kept it what it was, which is he kept McCoy at center and Ruiz at guard when he came back. Then you never heard about Cesar Ruiz as a center for the rest of his time being here. He's seen something. Now, McCoy is established as a bona fide center. Cesar Ruiz wasn't, he had to make the move to the guard position, learn how to play the guard position. He got Drew Brees killed on that play. Wasn't it Kentavious Street that beat Cesar Ruiz badly and crushed Drew Brees? I said, I was like, I'm like, man, they're going to get the man killed because he can't move. It was like a dude, he either had 200-pound leg weights that had on Drew, or the man was running around in quicksand. Either way, he could not move. They flattened Drew. They pancaked Drew Brees' ass, man. Broke him, cracked them all up. Oh my goodness, they left about it. But that's what happened. I was like, oh, these people are so stupid. But it is what it is, man, But that's you to move him from you want to move him to left guard next to Kelvin Banks Jr. on that side. I don't know, bro. It wouldn't be a bad idea, Professor. I just don't think the Saints won't do they don't want to do too much movement. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to flip the line. Tolly should make a seamless transition to right tackle because that's his natural position. Kelvin Banks Jr. was playing left side in college. So it's like move to move, right? The only person right now that's suffering from some movement issues is Trevor Penning. Left to right, then left guard. Left tackle, right tackle, then left guard, right? He's the only one that is kind of on the island floating around, so to speak. I don't think the Saints want to do any more movement, especially if McCoy gets hurt, and God forbids he does, and they say, okay, Ruiz, you the center, and then we have to bring a guard off the bench, as opposed to McCoy goes out, Will Clapp goes in, our stability stays the same. I don't, if Ruiz was a little bit better, bro, I think that probably would be better, Thank you, sir. All right, what's up, brother Dude? What's up, Jesse? Shout out to you, Jesse Jackson. Keep hope alive, brother. Keep hope alive. Shout out to you. 504 says, Q, you think it's possible for us to sign Keith Allen and Amari Cooper? Possible, bro. It depends. I'll probably lean more toward Allen because of the relationship, but it's a money thing, right? And whether the Saints see him as a person. Now, everybody and their mama know that people are saying, hey, the Saints need a possession wide receiver. They know what it is. Chris Olave is not a possession wide receiver. However you want to call it or phrase it, Chris Olave is not a possession receiver. He's a guy that operates off a possession receiver, which is what they try to make Cedric Wilson Jr. was, right? When they brought him in after Mike Thomas left, he was supposed to be the possession guy because that's the philosophy. You have the speed, you have the possession guy, the speed guy, and the slot guy. Slot guy is Rashid Shaheed. Chris Olave is the speed guy, and the possession guy was supposed to be Cedric Wilson Jr. Allen would be a possession guy. Amari would be a possession guy. These are guys that do it because they did it at a higher level, and you give your young quarterback room an opportunity to be successful when you can be able to put vets around them in that capacity. Try to make as much complete of a team you can from the backup offensive line position, the wide receiver position. Do your absolute best to help you in that regard to be able to do the things that's necessary and needed to make it a little bit easier and to help your quarterback. Just saying, you don't want too much, you got to worry about a lot of stuff while worry about that. You don't want to get that to them as well. All right. Mayor said that's BS. You have any idea how many players live in the city rather than be in the Garden District or Metairie, even the ones who are right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys, that's what I've been saying, fam. That's a lot of BS. Because a lot of these guys, they don't live in the city. A lot of these guys, a lot of these men that got money, they don't live. Elvin Kamara don't live in the city. He live way on the West Bank. I ain't gonna tell you where. I know where he live at, but he live way on the West Bank. He live in a gated. It ain't a gated. It looked like a gated. It ain't got a gate there, but you can drive through there. But anyway, I know where most of these guys live at, man. These country clubs. These, I'm from the city, so a lot of these guys don't live in the city like you think they do. And if they do live in the city, they remember when Drew Brees was moving into New Orleans, and you thinking he's gonna have a house, and he living way up in what used to be the World Trade Center in New Orleans. Put one in the chat if y'all know what I'm talking about. They got the World Trade Center downtown. They're reworking it where they have suites way at the top of the World Trade Center. Drew Brees was talking about buying somewhere to live up in there. They don't live the same way we do, man. They don't. They live in country clubs and places like that. That's what they do. You ain't gonna see them in them places, fam. You're not. That's just what it is. Kai, what's up, Kai? Says, how do you feel about our tight end room? I feel like we need to add more depth at the position, but Juwan need to take a huge leap and be dominant weapon for offense. I agree, bro. I think right now, currently, the tight end position for the Saints, Taysom Hill is not going to be available. I'll be surprised to be ready for the season. Some people say end the season. Foster Moreau think he'll be ready, right? They signed Jake Stahl, who's a tight end that I think the man came over from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a 27-year-old tight end. This is his 5th year from Philly. He played in a combined, he played in 50-something games, and he got 22 catches. So Stahl is not a featured tight end, to say the least. Stahl is more like a backup guy that blocks for you. You can use him in different applications. So got like 22 catches in his 5 years coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles. And then behind that, if you want to talk about with the Saints, there's a bunch of unproven guys, whether you like them or not. It's a lot of unproven talent behind the tight end position. So what you got Dalen Hawker, who played spottedly last year for the Saints. Dalen, he had like 3 catches all of last year, and plus he dealing with a little nagging injury anyway. 3 catches, unproven. Michael Jacobson, who's first year man, out of Penn State, big tight end, unproven. Matavo, that's the draft pick the Saints picked up, who has the higher upside. Trayton Welch, who's also a young tight end. These guys are inexperienced, and most of these guys you never even heard of. So, I mean, it wouldn't hurt, man, to add another veteran tight end to the mix, especially with the uncertainty of Taysom and Foster Moreau. It wouldn't hurt you. You got a lot of undrafted guys there, a lot of inexperienced guys. But yeah, how I feel about the room, I think they can benefit by a veteran, bro. But you're absolutely right about this whole thing with Juwan Johnson. He need to step the hell up in a major way, no doubt about it. All right, yes. Jack said, did he get caught? Now, he got caught and got away with it. It's just, when you got money, man, you do all kinds of, you're not the average person when you got a little bread, man. This old boy up there with his trial going on, y'all know what I'm talking about. He was out of control. And that just shows he's out of control. Man was out of control. Think he could pay this guy off, do that type of thing, all this kind of stuff. And you never would have heard from him if he hadn't sued that liquor company. He would still be running out of control and doing out of control stuff. The only reason why they're getting at him right now is because he went with that liquor company, he won that lawsuit, and they've sicked the dogs on him. That's what happened. Y'all know, just like I know, if that would have never happened and he would have played ball and did what they wanted him to do, you never would have heard about none of this. You'd have heard about Gene Deal, none of that. None of that would have had traction. None of it would have had traction. He would have quieted it all down. He was out there, a mad dog running around doing this thing. Now, did he do what they said he do? I don't know about all that. All I'm saying, from what I'm hearing, he should just get his, he should get his, his teeth kicked in for hitting on women. But outside of that other stuff, I don't know too much about all that, man. Yeah, I don't see that. All right, Jaden says, Q, when are you doing the phone line again? Are you doing phone? I don't know, bro. I'm just staying. I don't know. We'll see, Jaden. I don't know when I'm doing that. Yeah, Thomas is cracking up over there. Thomas know what time it is. No, he says Q cutting up. No, I was saying, bro, that whole thing with the Bill Belichick thing is so much hilarity there. There's so much material there. Because number one, man, let me tell you something. This guy was built out as Mr. the Stoic King. He got one of them stone faces. He don't. And the fact that he getting whipped right now by this lady, right? He just getting it handed to him. And he just sitting up there like this. He chipped. Somebody put a chip. She put a chip in him. And so, yeah. Well, thank you, English. Larry Warford. That's who they got rid of. Larry Warford. Thank you, bro. All right, Hemisphere says Q Payton played Ruiz at center one time for McCoy. That was his rookie season in the game. The Green Bay game in Jacksonville, Ruiz hasn't started since. Yeah. And they kept him there, I think, the Saints to save face because Ruiz played well enough that 1 year, that contract year, to get that contract. And ever since then, most people could say they look at they would write these articles and they'll put PFF stats about this, that, and the third. But if you watch the film for yourself, it's different. It's a different effect. You don't see a dominant player there all the time. You see it as spots. And I'm like, that's a commitment issue. For him to be, that's like, I'm questioning these guys to step it up. For the Saints line to really solidify, they need Cesar Ruiz to become better than he's ever been. They need Juwan Johnson to be better than he's ever been. These guys are in positions where they must excel and be better than they've ever been for the team to take it up a notch. They really do. Ruiz has been there for far too long. He got too many games played for him to be like the fourth best guy. They got guys, the younger guys, going to surpass him. How good they are. Nobody talking about Ruiz is no top guard in the game. Why? He's not hurt. He has everything. Why is he not? It's a commitment thing with a lot of these guys. They're not pushing themselves to be great. That's like Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson and Cesar Ruiz do not have the mentality like, I want to be, when I'm done, I want to be one of the best. They don't have the mentality like Carl Nix or any of our other really solid offensive linemen that we had in recent memory. Jari Evans, Carl Nix, and guys like that. He don't have that temperament. I don't see Mad Dog mentality out of Cesar Ruiz. That's why I nicknamed him Caesar Salad Ruiz. Ain't nothing hard about Caesar Salad Ruiz. His game is flip-floppy, it's up and down. He might not be giving up sacks, but shit, he ain't holding nobody either. Guys turning that ball around like a turnstile. Now, if he ain't giving up no sacks, it's because the quarterback is running away and throwing the ball away before they collect a sack. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. We do this on Patreon. I'll be showing y'all, be spotlighting the tape. I say, fam, look at Cesar Ruiz. Don't I? For my Patreon people, put it in the chat. Tell them. No, Maul, I'm not in the Dominican Republic, brother. You keep asking me that, brother. No, I'm not. All right, I'm not in the Dominican Republic, brother. No, I'm not. I'm in America, brother. You got to ask DC that. DC is in the Dominican Republic. You know, that's DC. All right, Sleep said, I'm not going to lie. I used to see Rob Ryan coming out of Almanac. You see him from Almanac stuff. Really? Are you joking, man? You joking. All right. TC1 Majestic P he says need to trade for Sanders. It ain't going to happen, my brother. They going to save face. They ain't going to trade. You know you should do a Sanders come. They're not going to do that, brother. Chantel says, Q, does the Saints have an easy schedule this year? Yes, they do. Cleveland has the hardest schedule in the NFL. Saints have a very winnable schedule. They really do. All right, Kevin. What's up, Jim? Kev says, Q, when you getting Mad Dog Russo on the show? Mad Dog Russo to come on the show. What Mad Dog? Might ask Mad Dog about Bill Parcells. That's what Bill Belichick. How about that? That's funny, man. That's really funny. It's so funny. He supposed to be this big tough guy, and he sit up there, can't even answer the question. Oh, we're not going to answer that question. Guys, so what did y'all meet at? We're not answering that question. I want to know. That's America wants to know, how in the hell did you get this old guy here? What I mean, we know how you got him, but what's your story before we make up one? Oh man, that's so funny. That old funny daddy running around. He can't even say 2 words without her slapping him down. All right, this is it. Somebody what is, and then hey, fam, his family believe is elder abuse. Can you believe that? Was she beating him with one of his trophies? What's going on over here? What's happening over here? What's she beating him with? I want to think. Well, I know what it is, but I can't say it because this is a kid show. English says Q, long term Viagra use. Bro, I can't touch that one, brother. The ladies are watching, brother. The ladies are watching. The children as well. I can't touch that one, brother. Jay says, Q, you're seeing players for the Saints 20. He says, who you seeing players for the Saints in 2025? My seeing players is tight end. He says, JJ, I believe is in him. He's seeing, he is my seeing player. I think people are seeing him too much. He says seeing players. What do you mean seeing players, bro? Who you think seeing players same as breakout players? Is that what you're saying, Jaden? Because listen, Juwan Johnson temperament is not like I was saying about Cesar Ruiz. Juwan Johnson, did you see the interview? Juwan Johnson, these guys don't have the temperament that you would want a top 10 tight end to have. He kind of soft, no disrespect, but his temperament is not like a Kittles, a Kelsey, and some of these other really good tight ends. You listen to them guys want to be the number one. Saints paid that guy. I thought they wasn't going to pay him. I was like, man, let's move the hell on. We'll find somebody to draft. But not saying that he's not tough because he climbed. He was a wide receiver his first year. They converted to a tight end the second year. He was at the bottom of the depth chart as a tight end. He climbed up, became a starter. He earned this paycheck and then got another paycheck, a larger paycheck, and now he's the man. I give him credit for that. Undrafted success is Juwan Johnson. My critique of him is, what's next? What other level do you have? Now, you did that to get to that. Now, they got to be another level to greatness. Okay, you won. You accomplished the dream. You played different years in the league. You are now a multimillionaire. Your family now has stability. Now, what else do you have is what I'm asking. And for those who are great, they know what I'm talking about when we ask that question, because it takes a lot to be great. It's another level, even maybe 2 levels that you have to go up to become great, to be labeled as the top 10 in your craft, in your field. It takes extra. Do you have that commitment? Do you have that? That's what I'm saying. If he has that, we'll see. But when he got signed, he talking about having fun. You have fun. What you mean having fun? How old are you? You I'll be asking questions in my head when I hear these people talk, fam. Y'all know. I'll be like, man, we just won't have fun. What? Would you talk about fun? Hey, man, listen, you have fun when you win. How about that? Is there any fun when you lose? No, ain't no fun when you lose. All right, so if there ain't no fun when you lose, then you need to concentrate on being. You're going to have fun if you win. All you have to do is level up and prepare like you're supposed to and take it up 2 levels or so. Then you will have all the fun in the world because you're winning and you're earning your money and people see it as such. It's this weird thing. It's like, just let me go ahead on and make it. No, you're not going to make it if you're going to lose. That's like, let me land. No, we're not going to let you land if you're tearing it up. No, we're not going to be doing that. But yeah, if Juwan Johnson got to step it up, bro. I mean, he could possibly be listen, he's the safety blanket for an inexperienced quarterback. He has to shine this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Duke says exactly, you don't see enough of the both players should be on the short leash. Thank you, bro. Yeah, QDC. No. Nah, DC's out there. Yeah, Bill Withers Belichick. There you go. What's up, Brandon? Shout out to you. The Saints have the second easiest schedule this year. The 49ers have the easiest schedule. All right, thank you, Brandon. They do have an easy schedule, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. That is I don't know. I ain't checked the 49ers schedule, so I appreciate that game, Brandon. Yeah, he said, unfortunately, playing with house money this year. Indeed, bro. They've been playing with house money the last several years. Let me tell you something, bro. They've been playing with house money and our nerves and our patience and every damn thing else the last several years. Let me tell you something. But shout out to you, Brandon. Thank you, man. Oh, he said sleep. Okay, sleepers. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you can add him as a sleeper, even though everybody look at him saying, hey, man, you going to do something, bro, more this year? Because, you know, he's inconsistent. He has concentration drops. You know, he drops the easy ones, but catches the really tough ones. I was like, man, come on, bro. You can't do that with all that money. You got to earn that money or people going to get on you, right? But that Bill Belichick thing cracks me up. All right, yeah. All right, English says 5.5 wins is the netting line of casinos for the Saints. He said, I'm going to drop a little on over if it stays there. All right, Kevin says, look at the tape. Juwan Johnson look lost out there. Juwan Johnson needs to step up, bro. You talk about having fun and all that kind of madness. You got to stop talking about having fun. Yeah, we just want to have fun. And he said it so softly. I was like, man, come on, bro. I don't know about this. Yeah, we just want to have fun. That boy like Ralph Trasvani as a tight end in the NFL. You know, like he like, you know, like y'all know Ralph, the lead singer for New Edition. That's how he was sounding. He was talking on that interview like he was Ralph Trasvani or something, all soft and shit. I was like, man, listen, brother, you ain't doing an R&B album, bro. You're an NFL tight end. You're going to have to step your game up, bro. You're going to have to bring the toughness because we're going to be counting on your ass this year. Step up. You know, with all that. All right. Brandon also says Tyler Shuck will be starting QB, number 11 for the Saints since 2019. That is crazy. Yeah, we did an article on that, bro. Very interesting, bro. The uncertainty, all that since Drew retired, that's all the Saints' fault. Picking the correct successors, not like it can't be done. We've seen teams like the Chiefs do it. We've seen Green Bay do it. We've seen teams get up off of old quarterbacks or younger quarterbacks, get themselves some time for the guy to get acclimated into the system and keep it moving. So, I mean, yeah, they just did a shitty job of it, you know? All right, Cap, man, what's happening, brother? He said, yeah, he said he got a fat contract. King Chosen one says, you need a, that's right. You need a man with sensitivity. Well, they got one at the tight end position. You got one at y'all. Hey, with the ladies out there, y'all know that song. Y'all know that song. I think I was listening to it on the radio the other day. You need a man, not any man, won't be sensitive. That's what I can give. You need a man, not any man, but hey man, listen, I had my girl to look that up, man. I said, hold on, what did he just say? You know, because you never could be too sure nowadays, you know, and then you kind of turn back the clock. A lot of them was that. I said, what that boy said? And then my girl looked it up. He says, I thought he said something. Y'all know what I thought he said. But he says, you need a man, not any man. You know, I thought he said something else, but we just gonna check on that. That was all right. He cleared. Let's just say that. I was like, what? Oh, hold on now, man. All right, Chantel says, Q, what is your take on Quashad Judkins? Love him. Quashad Judkins is awesome. Love Judkins. Sampson, too. He's a little undersized, but these are playmaking running backs. Love them. All right, Novus, Who Dat Fanatic says, they think we're going to be trash this season. Look at the schedule. And if we end up with a winning season, they're going to say it's because of the schedule. You know how it works. That's one of them ones where you can't win for losing, baby. That's one of the ones where you can't win for losing, baby. You know how this goes, baby, don't you? You know, you're a veteran in this, bro. That's right. You just sit up there and laugh. You can just sit up there and laugh, bro, when it happens, because it might happen. What's up, brother Farouk? How you doing, sir? Shout out to you. All right, Sonya says, I'm ready for some football. I watched our season opener game simulated and was pleasantly surprised. I have a bit more hope. Yeah, we used to do that. We do that in the simulations here on the channel. I think we'll be firing that up in another week or two, where we'll be doing the simulations for the Saints games. But yeah, it looks very interesting, man. It's hard to kind of forecast because I do think if you can keep Tyler healthy, he got the makeup. He's tall, got strong, his accuracy, intermediate stuff. He's not super as accurate as you want. He's still working on it. Building the symmetry, chemistry with his wide receivers. That's all a part of the game, getting them to learn. Spencer Rattler, I don't think it's well, even though Tyler might start at the top of the competition, Spencer Rattler, like I said, I want my people out there to understand that Spencer Rattler is going to give Tyler Shuck a run for his money. Spencer Rattler's been training in the offseason, second year in. He looks confident. He's already a smart dude. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he's composed. You can see underneath the calm demeanor, like, man, I'm going to show these guys. You know what I'm saying? You can see it every now and again. It kind of leak out, but you can see he tries to keep that under composed, because remember, this guy was supposed to be a top quarterback in the NFL, or at least a first round draft pick quarterback. He felt he had to slide. He had to do all this other kind of stuff. Went to South Carolina, dropped his stock to fifth rank in the fifth round. So he playing with a chip on his shoulder. So a lot of people feel like Spencer has first round or second round QB abilities, even though he failed to where he is. And he plays, the fifth round selection plays in a similar way to what Shedeur Sanders is going to get with Cleveland, because it gives him something that he might have not had. Like, he might have had the commitment, like, I have to show because I'm Deion Sanders. I think he's beyond I'm the Deion Sanders son dude. You know what I'm saying? I think he got beyond that. I think now he's at the stage now where it's just, I got to show you now. He said, I got to show me. I got just to show. No, what you, I'm about to show you. You already know what you can do. He just don't want to get that to the people. But that's something like what Spencer has. Spencer's like, okay, this operates this situation opens up incredibly favorable for Spencer Rattler, because it gives him an opportunity to compete with a quarterback, even though the man will be 26 in the fall. But it's a guy that has never thrown an NFL pass, and he's been in the league out a year ahead of him. He's already been preparing at the level, getting used to the speed of the game. He played in 6 games. He has a chip on his shoulder, not winning any games last year. I think it was 0-6 as a quarterback, and he has some other stuff that he need to work on. But I don't think he's going to come in there and do what Jake Hayner did the year before when he was battling Spencer. A lot of people thought Jake would give him a run for his money. He didn't. He didn't. He didn't do it. He ran, but it is in the opposite direction. All right. Thank you, Sonya. Appreciate you. But yeah, we're going to see. I think the man playing with a chip on his shoulder. We should be able to see some stuff. All right. Yeah, I know Brandon. Brandon said he missed Jimmy Graham. Yeah, it's been a little. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's the only thing. All right. Chantel says, I would not sleep on Carolina. I think they can beat the nasty, dirty birds. Yeah, indeed. English says we need a defensive back that can neutralize those big Tampa Bay receivers like Laddie used to. Indeed. All right. Yes. Shiloh. Yeah, I know he's there. Chantel. Appreciate you. All right. Miles. Thank you. Shout out to Miles. Says dope channel, but y'all losing weeks 2 and 3. That's weeks 2 and 3, Miles. We losing weeks 2 and 3. Okay, brother. Okay. Make sure you be here. Have your face in the place for weeks 2 and 3, bro. We'll see what's going on. Because I can tell you straight up like this. Man, listen. I'm not going to sit up here and crap talk to you, man, because, we got a lot of uncertainty with our team. But weeks 2 and 3 against what's that? That's the Niners. Is that Niners? Is that home or away? I think that's hold on. Let me pull up the schedule here. Weeks 2 and 3. All right, here we go. All right. So yeah, there you go. The schedule right there. But weeks 2, what? San Francisco at home in the Dome. And then weeks 3 on the road against Seattle. We'll see, bro. The Arizona, it depends on what the Saints do. If we can run the football and play defense. I know it's early on, but a lot of these teams, they're not going to come out. You're hoping that they're not going to be good at first. So you're going to see some rust with Arizona. You're going to see some rust with San Francisco. We know they weren't good last year. We know they're coming back. They want to compete. We know Seattle is still dangerous if you got to travel up there and play them. But the Seattle, like Seattle, this year is going to be an unbeatable team. They still got question marks too. They lost some people. They got the coach up there. So, like I said, it's none of these are juggernauts. Your juggernaut, you don't hit until the week 4 against Buffalo. You know what you're dealing with that. But to be quite honest with you, any one of those games can go either way. Either way. I mean, it's either way. Arizona is a in my opinion is a very serious win. I think the Saints can win that game. Now San Francisco is going to play us close, but we still got that game in the dome, and it's early. You never know what San Fran squad going to show up. You know, the San Fran team you get at the start of the year is definitely not the team you're going to see later on. Let's just say that much, right? Brock Purdy got his money. He'll be a force. But like I said, the first 4 weeks of the season, people trying to figure it out, right? So anything could happen within that time frame. So getting San Fran that early and Seattle that early, you never know how it might shakes out. But going to Seattle to play, like I say, these games, to me, I think the San Fran's going to be a tough game. Seattle is, because the San Fran games always tough. That's old NFC West rivalry. We have San Fran. It's always tough. The Seattle game, that'll be something else. We'll see how it all goes. But going up there and playing in the 12th man and all that kind of stuff. But it's still early in the year. It won't, we'll see how it go. But in the end, we'll see. So I can't talk too much crap to you right now, man. I can't talk too much crap to you right now, my friend. We just have to wait and see. All right. So with that being said, fam, listen, I'm going to get ready to cut out on that, man. I appreciate y'all for hanging and chilling with your boy today. I hope y'all had some fun on this Sunday afternoon, or Sunday night, rather. It's 8:30. But listen, do your boss a service. Hit the like button. If you like the stream, hit the like button. If you're not a sub up. And also do me a service by sharing the show's links on your social media feed. It helps us out. It'll be interesting. English says, Q, you need to win that big fur jacket from Lowe, Atlanta boy, this season somehow. They put it on your wall like a bear. Lowe told me he'll send me one. I said, Lowe, I'm all right, brother. Lowe is something else, man. Brother Eli says, y'all might have one of the easiest schedules, but y'all are easy W and everybody else's schedule. There you go. Throwing shade. It's kind of early, don't you think, Eli? To be throwing shade, brother. Kind of early, bro. I guess it's never too early in the Saints and Phil Collins rival, right? Rival, it's never too early, but that's a full-time endeavor. So yeah, I guess not. But shout out to you, brother. Brother Eldon says the Saints going to get 10 wins. Barely. I picked them, bro. Looking at the schedule, and I was like man, this schedule here, man, is so ridiculously favorable to the Saints. And I'm not just saying everything is favorable about this schedule. What's up, Colorado? Shout out to you. I mean, you got Arizona to open at San Francisco, both of those at home in the dome. You don't know what San Francisco team is still early on. You can get a team still trying to figure it out like you. The Seattle matchup is tough to play up there, but still in all. Seattle's not a juggernaut, and you can end up, getting a W on them. So this could go many different ways. The Buffalo game, to me, in the fourth game, a month worth of games in, Buffalo is a difficult team to play. Then you come home for the Giants and the Patriots. Both of those teams were the worst in their divisions last year. The Giants was not good. That guy might be facing firing. That Giants coach, the ball, he's supposed to be fired last year. And the Patriots, you got Mike Vrabel taking them over, so there'll be some changes. But they were really bad. So we expecting them. So the Saints got wins there. I mean, you can easily, before you get to Chicago, could say that Saints could be 5-1. You could easily say that because of who they're playing. They got teams, that they're playing. The question would then be, is their worse better? Is their worse worser than our worse? If you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying, right? We don't know. So, like I said, look at this schedule. Like the cold game, there were no cold games. The Giants game is in a dome. The Patriots game is in a dome, and those two are in October, early October, right? And the New England's mid-October. The Chicago game is middle October. There on them, and then there are no cold games. I mean, Tennessee? There are no cold games. You going to Tampa and Miami. You ain't gonna be having no cold down there later on in the year. And you go to Tennessee, the further north you go is Tennessee on December the 28th. There are no cold games. So the weather is not a factor in the Saints schedule, right? And even the Saints don't see division rivals until the 8th week of the season when we play the Buccaneers. So the Saints don't see Tampa, the first one, until week number 8. They have 4 teams, Arizona, Seattle. They got 4 teams on their schedule before you get to Chicago, or wins that they can actually beat. They can beat New England. They can beat the Giants, both of them in the Dome. The Seattle is a game where you can kind of look at it. It's difficult to win up there, but I'm just saying, starting off, then things change after the Chicago game, right? You get Tampa for the first time. You get a tough Rams team. You get Carolina. You get the bye. The bye is even positioned correctly. The bye is positioned in week 11. It is perfectly placed in the season right before the first game against Atlanta. Then you got games against an uncertain Miami team. You got Tampa, Carolina, a Jets team that people thinking will be better than what they were last year, but still a work in progress. And the same for Tennessee. A Cam Ward-led Tennessee team. How good are they going to be? They're going to be better than what they were last year, but still, you should be able to beat them. Should be, right? So the question is, are their worst than our worst? Who's together faster? That's the whole point of the schedule. This is very favorable schedule. Probably one of the easiest schedules that I ever seen the Saints have. This is ain't it? That's why I'm like, man, look at this. So now that the Saints are faced with this, their next prerogative is to run the football as hard as you can run, protect the quarterback, get into the play action. Jawan Johnson got to step up. Backup tight end, Matavo, probably going to be the guy. He needs to rise up. Young guy, get some of these other guys. You might need to sign a veteran tight end to bring him in here until you get Moreau and Taysom. If you get Taysom Hill back, you have to bring a veteran to steady it in. So there are moves the Saints still have to make. They need more veterans on the offensive line, backing up. They need to use another veteran tight end. They can use another veteran wide receiver, possession guy. They can use that. Ashanti Samuel Jr. was also something rumored to add to the secondary. That would be a nice addition. You bring those guys in, you see things, people start feeling differently about the Saints. G-Dog, what's up, bro? Say we pray we keep Taysom. I hear you, brother, on that. Yeah, Taysom, we need to get him healthy, you know what I mean? English says, good show today, Q. Catch you the next one. Yeah, I started talking about the schedule. WT Daily says 3-7 by the bye. Okay, thank you, bro. Make sure you stay on here, man, and make sure you keep up with it, because I would love to see your face and see what happened. 3-7 by the bye. So what's your 3 wins? You got Arizona, who you got? New England and the Giants. That's the 3 wins. Everybody else is a loss by the bye. You can, Arizona to me, I see them beating. I can see them beating Seattle. I can see them beating the Giants. I can see them beating New England. I can see that 4 wins right there. Hell, the San Francisco game is not up for grabs. You're not going to have juggernaut San Fran in week 2. Just saying, man, anything could go. All right. Jack says, Q, we were more excited about these schedules than the team. Oh, well, yeah. They add a few more people. I think that changes around, bro. That changes around. But anyway, with that said, let me get on up out of here, man. Do me a service. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button if you're not a sub. Feel free to join our Patreon, our YouTube family for locked content. We got tons of locked content available, player breakdowns, highlights, stuff like that. All that stuff is available on our Patreon and YouTube membership family. The link's in the chat. Also, feel free to check out our website, whothatdaily.com. Sign up for our newsletter, and merch and all that stuff is available on the links provided in the chat and in the description section at the final end of the vid. So, man, listen, y'all have a beautiful Memorial weekend with the fam. Shout out to our veterans, man, our lovely veterans. Thank y'all for y'all support and what you guys are doing, the sacrifices you guys are making. Much love to our vets out there, man. And listen, I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one, man. I'll be back on Monday, man, to kind of talk about this more and maybe have some more laughs on a couple of these people, like Belichick and all this other stuff. I'm going to holler at y'all, man. Much love. Who that to you? Peace.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, brother like this, and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat too.